5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Player disconnected. Radiant team's turn to ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team's turn to pick. Great, they're back. Dire team's turn to pick.
Weaver.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team's turn to pick.
Bang.
Radiant team's turn to pick.
Jeez.
10 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Mars.
Dire team's turn to ban. Radiant team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team's turn to pick. Radiant team's turn to pick. Mirana. seconds remaining.
Maybe,
5 seconds remaining.
against Mars and lane.
PA would be my second
Radiant
option.
team's turn to pick.
Really like Luna against Mars because players interact with the arena.
Sure, and the lane is still good for her as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Mirana picked up. It kind of shows, I mean, it definitely shows their lane. Obviously, they have second picks. They want to leave their core
10 seconds
matchups
remaining.
for later. But now that they see the lane for their off lane on Neon, they should
5
pick the
seconds
carry, I would
remaining.
think.
Dire team's turn to
Unless they
pick.
just want to give them the best game possible. Yeah, can
Or
go
they
safe
do the
lane on
flex.
mid.
Yeah, that's the other fun way of doing it.
Yeah, but you don't have last pick, so you're gonna have to reveal this flex.
Yeah, they can at least see one more pick and then decide the matchups. Well, I mean, they already know Central Mirana lane. And you kind of mentioned how, like, this is like the battle of the new team with some young bloods versus
10
Execration sticking with
seconds
their old
remaining.
roster. And Execration sticking with the old draft. Central Mirana, that feels like, you know, you go back a year or
5
two, that
seconds
was
remaining.
bread and butter. That was like every other game, the offlane duo.
I think Neon have made a mistake though, and these two heroes they picked up. Personally, when I look at Weaver, my thought is you have save and you lack lockdown. They get lockdown on Mars and teamfight, but Abaddon basically does the same function as Weaver, but on a worse scale, because he doesn't have the ability to push lanes like Weaver does. He's basically just going to sit behind his carry and lane and just keep healing them and keeping them alive. But now you're lacking a stun outside of Mars Spear, and TA also doesn't make up for that weakness. So there's like a lot riding on this last pick to like fix a lot of the holes in Neon's draft, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the Abaddon was kind of like they felt pressured to get something to deal with the Mirana arrow, like the sleep into arrow or central stomp into arrow. Like Weaver Ags doesn't come till way later.
Radiant
You're
team's
getting
turn to ban.
Urn, often Spirit Vessel first, so you're just not getting that till way later on.
Okay.
It's just now you have very little ability to make plays
Dire
on
team
Neon.
ban.
And
I agree.
I would think if you were
Radiant team's turn to
picking
ban.
towards that, if you have Abaddon Weaver, then you want to play defensively. And I don't think TA is the type of hero that is
Dire team
defensively.
ban.
She doesn't run over the game at 50 minutes. Like if Execration won here, which it kind of seems with the OD, they can just scale into it and be at a point later where they're like, well, we can just fight into all your heroes and it's fine. Now, Abaddon pops his ult, OD just puts him in Astral. He doesn't care. If someone gets Arena, you just Astral him. It doesn't care. You guys disengage and you
10
just keep
seconds
farming, and then
remaining.
eventually you just win the game. And they have last pick on Execration, so they can set up the
Radiant team's
best
turn
possible
to
game
pick.
for their carry into what Neon are going to pick.
Pop man.
OD looks.
Agreed.
I'm a big OD fan. Sorry, Cap.
I actually hate OD a lot, but in this type of game where Neon have little to no way to like kill him
10 seconds
early or
remaining.
pressure him really, like OD hates being like overwhelmed because he doesn't have any way to
5
disengage
seconds
from a
remaining.
pick, like a gank or whatever. So, what are Neon gonna do? Like whoever they put mid, like he's like, oh, I'm gonna go on OD, and like Abaddon's standing there like, I'll shield you, bro, I got your back. Like what?
The obvious here is like the Lena Viper, the range heroes that can match up not bad out. So I'm not sure if there's a mid hero that really makes sense. I would say if you want to take something out of the page of the SMG book, mid Mirana. Oh, sorry, they picked Mirana. What am I talking about? I was like, what do you play against OD? Mirana. I like playing Mirana versus OD.
The Quap is the other option, but then you don't fix any of the problem.
Yo, hit the sniper, it's time.
Oh, actually, you know, a sniper with Ags would fix a couple of things. You have to play him differently.
It's
Just get Abaddon to be a
it's so
perfect
it's good to
butler.
the lane. Yeah, the issue is then have no stuns. You're doubling down on the having no playmaking.
This is a
and it's
much
super
better
great.
option, by the way.
Yes,
No, we're suggesting.
I was just joking about sniper, don't listen
Yeah,
to me.
this is actually good.
Yep.
Yeah,
A hero that you can't get caught by the Astral Hammer. Like, you frame perfect it probably, but that's not gonna happen. Puck's always good.
10 seconds remaining.
Astral Hammer.
I just-
Don't quote me on that.
I think you
5
can.
seconds
I think you're
remaining.
able to.
That seems like one that you're getting maybe.
I'm genuinely not.
Timing.
I'm
I
genuinely
don't
not
think
sure.
OD is going to be able to time very well. This
Okay.
is nice. It's
find.
really hard. I've practiced it in lobbies and stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's really hard to get puck on, or to the
Yeah,
perfect
I'd say
time?
it's near impossible. I don't know how he's
Okay,
gonna do it. I hate
Choose your
God,
hero.
what I hate that hero. But
Good here. Well,
is it? I mean, they don't have a lot of hard lockdown, I guess. But
You've solved the problem. Ranged hero in lane against Mars, melee in the mid to lane. here.
but he
Troll
actually.
Warlord.
man, I hate
I would
Troll.
say Troll is pretty bad against Mars though, in general, because like he just has to stand near you with bulwark, and you activate battle trance, and all of a sudden you're hitting not someone you want to hit. The arena is such a nuisance, and so is a spear. And like Mars plays pinball with Troll, and Troll's trying to get to you, and Mars is like, nope, nope.
Yeah.
They-
It's I think good against the TA matchup, which is kind of their win condition. Like that's their only like scaling. Like TA carry is like I don't know if TA can carry this game. It feels like OB.Neon are gonna have to play super fast tempo and.
I just feel like OB.Neon's game plan here is to make moves with puck as much as they can, and then when TA gets the Deso, they go Roshan, and then they start going down lanes, hitting towers with this Mars Arena. Two supports that are going to keep your TA safe, push towers, and that's how they're going to try and win. I think Execration don't have very good wave clear to be able to stop them from doing that. It's hard for them. It's kind of awkward for them to take a fight, but they do have much better like pick off. If Abaddon and Weaver without Ags are like not near someone, I think they can die pretty easily to Execration spells. I think OD and Troll Wallet are very high execution was, and I think that's going to be their biggest problem.
We have our panel. We'll see what our casters have to say. Take it away, MLP Dota and John X Fire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abbott. Plus, it is indeed MLP Dota and X Fire. John, we're into our second series of the night between OB.Neon and Execration. Let me tell you, sir, both these teams are pretty desperate for a win, I think, after that first week of SCA DPC. John, talk to me. Draft-wise, who do you think came out on top?
Battle.
I'd lean maybe slightly towards Execration. I think overall it's fairly even. Like there is that aspect of a high skill ceiling for Execution, as Cheapo pointed out, for Execration. But I think, you know, going away from the draft, Mike, for Neon, it's much more important for them to find a win because, as Narman said, it's his birthday. He's got to find a win. So Narman's got to win today, and he's going to pull out all the stops. We'll see if he can get that done on his Weaver, but I think the motivation is there for Neon to really pull it out for that win. This is probably the closest series in my mind, though, Mike. I think this one might be the first one for Div 1C to reach those 3 games, so we'll see.
You just heard Aries' voice line as well from Palos. I'm sure Palos is very happy about that voice line. Shout out to Aries, of course. Pretty sure he's in the chat right now. Fantastic voice line, John.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. And, you know,
you just
every
can't
time
compliment anyone, can you?
No,
you just can't compliment any other
It's a
class.
great voice line. I was just going to say, you know, when your player has their name called out, they're going to love it. They're going to spam it out. Palos, if he drops down on efficiency on those voice lines, like every time it's off cooldown, he's not using them, he's got to get a calling out to you. And he's got to make sure that his name is always there.
Let's get moving.
Playing with a bit of fire here, Enryu looking for a spear, but no, he has the shield crash anyway, or rather the God's Rebuke. He'll back off and may as well start off with the mid-lane matchup where you will have, of course, the lovely Mamang Daya on the puck with Bob on the OD against him. Love the fact, by the way, John, the panel are very well aware of the Mamang Daya Darkseer mid. I've got to say, I do miss the Mamang Daya Darkseer coming out, but for now we do have the puck OD matchup. Who has the advantage in this matchup, John?
I'd say you feel pretty good as OD overall. Like you walk up, use your Arcane Orb every time it's off cooldown and kind of harass out Mamang Daya. Once you have your Astral Imprisonment, you can also kind of control the creep wave that way as well. So it's a little bit more pressure in the first 3 levels here onto the puck. And the issue does come in down the line when you're trying to get control. The Meteor Hammer timing onto puck is very difficult. But laning phase, I think the OD does have a better time, and Bob's just going to have to put his body forward. We'll see if Bob does hit that record point today, as I don't think he's had the best times for his team recently, but we know how Bob performs. And he does love to really push the aggression in lane. OD's the perfect hero for that.
So, down the bot lane, you've got Palos and a Bing there against Kimizu and Carlo. Pretty kind of dangerous lineup here from Execration, because you do have that double stun kind of lineup here from the dire end. The Palos and a Bing, I suppose they should remain relatively safe, considering you do have the Aphotic Shield to throw out as a Bing, assuming you're not the one caught by those double stuns. So Palos, he should remain relatively safe. And Bing, again, just has to be very careful not to get caught by a rogue arrow.
Yeah, it's the big concern, and I think that's where you, again, pick that Abaddon just to have the spell on hand to deal with the chain stuns. It is a harder lane for Palos to hold, especially in the first 2 levels. Even the 3rd level, it's not that good for the TA, but as long as he's not being completely zoned out, Abink's putting his body forward just fine, you're going to be fine, right? Like, you're not always going to be able to line up for the hoof stomp into arrow. There's a lot of creeps around. Palos is really sticking up to the creep wave, not really giving the angles out, and that's all you need to do. Just a more passive lane for Neon. As long as they get the grip on the farm, you're kind of all right with Kimizu working the lane as much as he wants as well.
course, the final lane, you've got that top lane with Nando there on the troll against Enryu and Namen, the birthday boy himself on that Weaver, and of course Vincenzo on the Bane. Seems like a pretty passive lane, at least for now. Nando, of course, could get aggressive later on here on the troll, but I dare say OB.Neon are the ones that potentially get a little bit aggressive here on the Mars Weaver. You just need one spear with the swarm out, and it's just so much minus armor and damage that can be pumped out from OB.Neon. But now, though, Execration playing it very safe, just making sure they keep their distance. They recognize that the strength of this duo here in the offlane of OB.Neon won't push it too far.
Yep, just kind of take it slow, build up. Kind of same story as we're seeing from Palace and bot lane. So Nando's just going to want to focus in on his initial farm as well and build up. I think that does mean mid's going to be where most of the action comes out from. Not necessarily early on with the skill attempts, but once they hit that level 6 spike, that's when the opportunities open up for rotations. Maybe when you get level 6 on the offlanes as well, like Arena can set you up, especially against something like Troll, or even the OD could get caught off guard if he's not careful, and the Stampede does allow you to kind of chase up.
We'll start out on Palos. He didn't have the aphotic shield from a bang as he was busy just taking a banner away from the dire end, but it won't matter. For now, the TA is just fine. Palos is known to play these POS 1 TAs and does generally do a pretty fantastic job on these kind of heroes. The Bang now is going to rotate back in, but it's not going to lead to too much. Again, it's just a bit of a farming matchup between these two teams right now. Neither side really making a big jump in yet. I suppose we do kind of expect rotations to happen from perhaps the mid lane before we do expect some kills to come out. So maybe Mengsedih, maybe Bob eventually rotates from this mid lane and tries to set up for a first blood attempt. But I'd say more than likely it should be Mengsedih, as Bob on the OD is at least going to want the meteor hammer before he does anything.
Yeah. You really need that additional control, that ability to contribute more to the fights that have just right clicks and an astral here and there. The thing with OD is,
oh, he's going to be fine, John. Go on.
Yeah, the thing with the OD is, like, after the meteor hammer, I think the tendency is to kind of prioritize Ags for the double astral, at least the times we've seen it. And it's that in-between after meteor hammer into Ags that just feels really dead for the hero. So it has this really insane spike with meteor hammer up, and then it becomes really passive, especially once the control feels like it's not enough. There's not enough burst flowing through. So that's what I want to kind of see with Bob. Like, will he be able to ride through that point? Is he going to go for a different sort of item after the meteor hammer? Maybe opting for, say, a force staff, maybe blink, trying to show up around, be more active on the map. I think they need something like that on their mid to enable the troll to really just focus on farm here.
Carlo trying to find an angle there onto a Bang, but is unable to see the Abaddon. The spot lane is getting very kind of action-packed here as Execration. They are certainly looking for those angles to land those big stuns. Top lane, however, Namen drops fairly low, but is going to be able to stick charge and be just fine. Enryu does zone out Nando. And still 5.5 minutes in, no first blood occurring. But we've had plenty of close scenarios between these two teams. They are trying, but nobody dying quite yet. And I suppose that's what we love to see, John. A nice close matchup between teams. We might actually get a 2-1 today.
Yeah, again, I think this is the series most likely to go 2-1 when it comes to these team matchups. They're fairly close in the skill level. They've got a lot to play for, kind of fighting to stay in Div 1, as, you know, a lot of them would rate them under the top dogs of C right now, but there's always potential, and these two are the teams that have that sort of secret sauce behind them if they find a good start. Still, I think it also comes down to draft being a lot more passive. We do hit that item spike here on Bob, so Meteor Hammer's up. He can pressure the mid lane. He's got level 6 ready with Sanities, and he will go for the arrow.
Oh, nice arrow from Carlo. Great timing there from the Mirana. Tips out from Bob onto Mengsedih, and that'll be first blood going the way of the OD. So already a great start for Bob. He wants to pressure that mid-tier 1 tower, and well, now you're getting that first blood bonus. He's more than happy right now. In fact, we might have another one coming in. Meteor Hammer into an arrow, and it's just that easy. You get that timing right between Bob and Carlo, and it's almost a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, and I love that rotation coming out from Execration, right? You've got so many Mirana combos that the aggression had to come out from the heart of this game. We weren't seeing the combinations on the off lane with a hoof stomp, but for mid, they line up, and there was a lot of conversation, a lot of talk about locking in the puck. Looks like they don't need to rely on Meteor Hammer. They've always got Carlo, although Bob
Yeah, coils out. Bob, he's going to cop a fair bit of damage, but I don't believe there's going to be enough. And well, Bob will put the hand up. He won't get a high
Radiant
five,
just
but
denied their
pretty sure
middle
that's
tower.
not what he wanted anyway, as the tier 1 mid tower does get denied off by a bang. But you've really got to give props to Bob and Carlo to find a tier 1 mid tower this early on in a pro match. That is a very concerning sign for OB.Neon.
Just opens up so much of the map for Execration to go in to really roam around, especially with Carlo. Like, he's just hanging mid. You can look to flank out Palos if they want to. He's still playing bot. Looks like they really just want to put a lid on Mamangdaya. And this is where some of the issues of Neon supports come in, Mike. Like, you've got a Weaver, you've got an Abaddon. These are two very defensive supports. Even Weaver could be a little bit more offensive, but you lack control on those two rotating out. So you don't really have follow-through for the big spells from Neon's side. Like, there's no follow-up for the Dream Coil yet. Maybe play with Mars when he has Arena, or just Spear Break on that Dream Coil to get additional stun, but you're not ready to rotate on Enryu yet. So it's a lot slower for Neon in the early game. Execration realized that. With their Mirana support, they can just take control very early on and just keep running around. This kind of start for Bob is scary. He's going Midas. So he's going for the long game, looking to scale up. There's just no punishment for the greed on this OD. Like, it's very vulnerable in the first few levels, but again, the supports can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, if he can be this greedy, that is a pretty big cause of concern here for OB.Neon, as now Vincenzo top lane getting body blocked, but bot lane, Kimizu does end up dropping, so Mamangdaya with a successful rotation does get something done. What side of the map, but the rotations are immediate now from Execration as they smoke up with Bob and Carlo. Down towards the bot, they'd love to find Palos. They'll have plenty of damage, assuming they can land that arrow. And speaking of that arrow, my goodness, Palos. He doesn't flinch, John. He just keeps TPing, but that was a close call.
Not much good's happening.
That's
to
a
Radiant's
really
bottom
good
tower.
guess coming out there
Radiant structures
from
have been
Armorana, but even if they don't
snowboarded.
find a kill, they can get the push. And that Meteor Hammer and be able to so much, and they're still clumping
Radiant's
around
bottom
mid as
tower's
well.
got
Kimizu
problems.
works his way there, Vincenzo's around. They've
Like
got the
dire
arrow and
fortified
Carlo
their
ready.
structures.
Oh, nightmare though, Vincenzo. He's gonna set up onto Mamangdaya. A bang, he does at least have a body shield, but is a bit
Are
slow
those
with it.
cracks in Dire's top tower?
Still, it's within enough time that he allows Mamangdaya to get out. But for a bang right now, it just feels like there's too many people to a Photic shield. I mean, these guys, they could be anywhere. You just need a nightmare or
Beating on Dire's
the
top
astral
tower.
imprisonment. You've just got the easiest arrow setup of your life.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on Up-Bang to get the timing of that spell use right and kind of save his course, but they need to have follow-through for those saves. They can play really defensive and back off,
Radiant's bottom
but your puck
tower's
kind of
got
wants to run and gun
problems.
at this point. You know, you want to play with a Dream Coil combo
Dire's top tower is
with
under
your
attack.
Mars, get some breaks, get some good arena top. Execration aren't giving them any angles with mid tier 1 and bot tier 1 taken. They're rotating top.
Gonna be taken by Enryu, but that's not gonna help out. That's gonna make it worse. Oh, and he gets the tip. I don't think Enryu did that on purpose, mind you, John. I believe he accidentally took the arrow. Nevertheless, though, you know, another great win here for
Someone
Execration.
better help Dire's middle tower.
And now they can just be aggressive up top, start to push in
Radiant's
the
top
last tier
tower
1
is under
tower
attack.
up the side of Neon.
guess
While that
Radiant
happens, they give
fortified their
Nando's
structures.
free space bot to farm on the troll. He's going for the Battle Fury troll as well.
Radiant's
So
top tower
Execration
has
have a
looked
really good
better.
read here. They're just going for the long game. They can kind of compensate with the aggression coming out from Kimizu and the damage output of Bob early, but they can invest in the late game with her troll and just kind of match the timings of the TA down the line when she does manage to start to snowball and farm. So it's working out well for Execration so far. Neon have a lot of issues. They are going for a smoke play. Mamangdaya is there with the 2 supports. They can play with the Dream Coil. It's been sitting ready to go, but I think they need Enryu to follow through with that kind of movement.
Carlo, he's around as well to break the smoke up. Mamangdaya, though, just gonna spot him out and just pops the coil. No playing around here with this
Not
Mirana.
much good's
They
happening
want
to
every
Radiant's
kill
bottom
they can get
tower.
for now. They'll take it. Nando, though, I mean, that'd be a pretty kill if they could get it, but with the coil
Those
down, I mean, there's just no
Radiant
chance of
towers
killing off
under
Nando.
attack.
Let's go back towards this triangle. It's fine to keep farming up its top lane. They'll find Enryu now with the Fiend's Grip out. Kimizu, I'm not sure if he quite has enough damage, but he can slowly chip away at Enryu. So the Nightmare there as well, just buying even more time. Enryu though, he charges up, and with the armor toggling, he might make it out, but it doesn't look like it. They land the stun, they get the double edge out, and Enryu I mean, he made it hard, but eventually they'll be able to secure the kill.
Yeah, and I think the timings of Enry are just so important. Like, that blink has to come out here from our Mars, so you're stalling out that key tool for Neon to actually start playing in a bigger group and forcing out more control, more team fights here to punish that greed. It's not coming true yet. Palos, as at the D lance up, going into the Desolator, but look at this bomb.
And they've mistimed the arrow, though. You had a bang there just in case Palos needed it, and he did. The arrow was a little bit mistimed there from Carlo this time around. But our Execration still 1k net worth ahead. You've gotten to the point where Kimizu does have the full blink up on the Centaur. That means even more ways of initiating to set up for the arrow. I think things have gotten much scarier for OB.Neon now as Execration. They've smoked up as 3 again. Down towards the bot side of the map they go. The only hero around though is going to be Narman on the Weaver. They're not quite the best target to try and find. They may just have to accept it. That is if they can find him. Senzo would love to set up for a nice Nightmare into Arrow, but Narman, oh, he's trapped up now. Kimizu surely spots him out, and the Hoofstop is there. Arrow will fly in, Nightmare will be on, and Vincenzo just making sure they land that arrow. Execration, they'll take a free kill for themselves.
Yep.
They're
Not the
beating on
biggest kill.
Dire's top
I think
tower.
Neon's doing the right thing while all of that action breaks out. He just stalled out long enough for Palos to clear out his Ancients, built into that Desolator, which is almost up. They take the tier 1 in exchange up top as well. They've got some towers to play with. They have to be careful about losing some bigger objectives, though. They do commit on this spot tier 2. It'll be relatively easy to melt. Kimizu can just tank this now. He's got Max Retaliate, he's got the Vanguard. He's not worried about the tower
Are
damage.
those cracks in Dire's
We're
top
going to try and
tower?
set up bot lane. Immediate retreat though from Execration. It's just great play here. It's Execration now. Pop the Moonlight Shadow. They still understand how powerful they are. In this game number 1, they'll rush towards that Radiant Triangle. Hoping for perhaps a TA kill, but the scan is going to be there. They know Execration are smoked. Palos will try to retreat now, but he might just have to force the TP out. There, do they? Oh, they dropped the sentry. He's within the sentry right now. Bot's gonna have a look. They found it. Palos is spotted out. The arrow is off the mark, however. Palos will survive as the coil does come out onto Kimizu. They'll chase the Centaur down, but Bob is gonna be there to try and help out, but it won't be enough. Kimizu is gone. Execration. It's like they couldn't believe their eyes finding the TA there in the tree line. They just kind of whiff everything.
Yeah, a bit of a missed opportunity. It felt like they should have had that kill, but they really needed to chain their stunts together. Now, there is no Dream Coil, so it's a bit hard for Neon to force this next fight out.
It's the casual arrow there from Carlo. Not going to go all the way, as they knew Beng was probably behind Mamangdire in that instance.
Not much good's happening
Execration
to
will play it a bit more
Radiant's bottom tower.
conservatively. Keep buying time for Nando. I mean, that's really all you want anyway, is this Dire side. Is to make sure your troll's farming. And Nando's having a great old time. Top the net worth board right now. Battle Fury's up. Sure, you've got to be worried about that timing from OB.Neon with this draft. Obviously, you get to a point where Palos and Mamangdire become a little bit too much to bear. But at least for now, they haven't quite gotten to that timing yet.
Yeah, it's still going to take a little bit longer for Neon to hit their big spikes. BKBs are going to be among the most important things for Neon, especially for Palos, to stop them engage, although...
Gonna try and make the jump in onto Kimizu, and they've got the feet with the arrow follow-up. They're gonna try and find the OB.Neon. Can they get something done? They'll take down Vincent versus Carlo now. He'll also get deleted. If they've even found Bob, that's the target you want. Bob, he's waited around way too long, but Kimizu, he'll jump in again, but it's not gonna be enough. The trap damage gets it done. And that'll be a 3-for-1 trade in favor of OB.Neon.
Dire's
And
middle
certainly
tower
not
is
very
under
good
attack.
news for Execration.
Dire Snow fortified their structures.
Great punishment out from Neon. They
Radiant's
found a
bottom
really
tower's
good
got
angle for the swarm to
problems.
fly through. They managed to clean up afterwards. They were a bit clumped up, but Abeng is getting his positioning right here,
Radiant's
Mike.
bottom
Just
tower is
having the
under
Aphotic
attack.
Shield on hand to break the hard control of Execration makes it a lot harder than it should be for Execration to get these fast pickoffs, and I think going for the Mars first is tough. You're relatively tanky on Enryu. He's got the armlet. He's had it for a while. He's been toggling really well. The additional HP just stalls out the burst window of Execration long enough for the counter initiation to come in.
Tenzo, form out, Nern is there as well. They'll have a nice spear. A nice little support pickup here from OB.Neon as Execration. After such a fantastic start, you'd hate to see them throw it back the way of OB.Neon, but it is starting to feel like that's exactly where it's going. The mid-tier 1 tower now is under siege by Mengsedih. Slowly chipping away. They don't quite have Palos around with the death, so to really make sure this tower just gets deleted instantly, but nevertheless, Mengsedih will be more than enough to get it done.
Dire's middle tower.
That'll be it. No real defense to come out.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's a bit worrying to see from Execration, but I think they understand that. Sure, we're trading a couple of kills away. We are still buying out a lot of time for Nando. He's got the Yasha up along with the Battle Fury, so straight into BKB next, and that's the point where the troll becomes a massive issue.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Their counterplay for BKB is Ags on Puck. Mengsedih is rushing the Ags. It's not the usual potency, although Vincenzo.
Yeah, Vincenzo again. Just easy pickings here for Enryu. Free food for the Mars. And as OB.Neon, I mean, you're kind of considering going Roshan now. Maybe you get the top tier 2 first just to be safe and take that Dire outpost, but right after Palos with the Deso up, he could easily go for that Roshan attempt. And it seems as though Execration, they are not going to try and defend this top tier 2. Interesting decision to make, but that is certainly going to give OB.Neon the advantage going into that Roshan pit.
Opens out the outpost. They will force the response out for the defense though, and Nando needs to be careful.
Pulls out. Nando, he's a massive target to get. He'll finish off that tier 2 tower. Astral will be able to save the 12 for now as Enryu, he'll jump into the backside and he's found Bob out. In fact, Silence is there. Nando ends up going down without the battle trance being expended. And now Kamizu, he'll try to stampede away, but Mengsedih right on the tail. He'll be able to secure a second kill for OB.Neon. And you just rush Roshan now. The line's been drawn out.
It's a massive opening for the side of Neon. Execration, a bit of a scattered fight. They were frontlining with their troll. He gets silence and he can't use Battle Trance, so his saving spell isn't there. Sure, he did manage to force out the Dream Coil use, but Arena's going to be up shortly anyway, so if there is a counterfight from Execration, it's not going to be very easy to approach Neon, and this shouldn't take too long for Palos. A couple of interesting things happened in that last fight, Mike. Bob got stuck by the cliff in Forest. Not sure how he got pushed in there, but he was cut off from providing anything else for the team. I think it was a spear back, weaving him through the tree line, just ending up in the low ground. So he was saved, but he also couldn't contribute. He couldn't go in for the Astrals. After the saving Astral on Nando, couldn't go in for the Santis to clean up. And they would miss out on an opportunity for us. Still, first rush of the game going the way of Neon. Again, no counterfight from Execration because they already popped Stampede and couldn't get into position in time. They did find a tier 2 bot in the end, but it cost them a lot. I don't think the map control you get there for Execration is equal to the control Neon got from the top tier 2, just because it feels like that Dire outpost is a lot more important because of Roshan.
Jumped on here by Mengsedih, but no real commitment yet. Just a bit of a warning shot here towards Bob. OB.Neon. A little bit more patient. Palos, he has got the full BKB up though. You might want to smoke up as 5, but they've got to address the bot lane, which has been forced in by Execration. I suppose you do have to still be somewhat concerned about Nando, as he is still very farmed up on this troll. Not quite enough though. I mean, he's still just trying to work towards that BKB. So OB.Neon, they do smoke up as 3 now. Into that triangle they go, they'll find themselves a primary candidate. Nando, he's going to back off the right time, but Mengsedih, he's quick with the Dream Coil out. Do they have enough damage before the ulti does get popped? Nando, he'll get the BKB off in time. The courier delivering it just at the right moment. Enryu now gets chased down. The arena not enough to save him, and Mengsedih, he also gets caught by Vincenzo. It'll be 2 down for now as Carlo. He'll go for another. Bang. Got borrowed time, so he can take quite a bit of time to try and take him out. More TPs to come in though, just in case as Bob. He'll join the fray. Palos, he's a bit late to the party, but he's going to try anyway. Onto Bob he goes. Nando, meanwhile, he'll just focus down Narman. Palos, I mean, that That was his first BKB charge. Oh, he's gonna go again. Palos! How ballsy do you have to be to do this shot? He'll force the buyback from Narman to boot. I'm not sure if this is the way, Palos. He'll keep going. Kimizu, he will drop, but that was just the Aegis. They'll keep going now onto the center as Kimizu will try to run. Spirit Vessel will tick him down, but not quite enough to finish him off. That was your Aegis gone, though. Palos, he's not done, however. Onto Bob now. They love the OD. They'll force the BKB out, but Bob, he is still dropping and does. Mamandaya gets the job done as they'll go back in onto Vincenzo. They may have found another kill, and they will. In the end, the prolonged team fight does pay off for OB.Neon.
Radiant's top
It's a lot
tower is
of
under
back and
attack.
forth. I think the fight was fairly scrappy for both sides, but it looked good for Execration first. The buyback from Norman does pay off. And because of that, even if they drop Aegis, they just go straight into another tier 2. So they're shutting out more map from Execration. Execration off the back of those kills weren't in position to really get anything out on the map. They had no angle to push out from, no way of taking more map control back their way. And Neon just read it perfectly and managed to clean up. They really do need these items to be running up on Execration soon. Like the stat resistance on Nando, he needs a full SNY. Like he just gets caught out with a silence. He's forced to BKB earlier than he'd want to, and then immediately go into Battle Trance. Those are your big items and spells immediately gone from the troll just to counter initiate. I think the ideal situation for Execration is that they will only need to commit maybe Stampede first to get Nando safely, bait out the use of Dream Coil, and then go in with BKB and Battle Trance and counter initiate from there. But it's kind of forced in reverse. Like, we see Nando always forced to use his spells first, then they get the Stampede to chase down. That gives Neon enough time to react, regroup, and reset for another fight if they are split up. So Neon playing to the strengths of their drafts well. Paulus has had a really free time on this TA, and every single time Paulus takes the safe lane TA, it just feels like he delivers. Right? Like it's a hero he's very comfy with. We've seen him play that from his time he's subbing in Doom as well. And it's just something he knows the ins and outs of. It's such a strong win condition for Neon to build around. And I think we heard it from Narman's interview. Right? He said, Paulus is a win condition. If he has a good time in lane, we're going to have a really good time as well. But it looks like our birthday boy's happy because Paulus is definitely online this time.
Bot lane, I think Execration may not be too happy about this as Nando, he's trapped up in the coil for now. Being stripped out onto Nama, but it means nothing. Kimizu, he'll try to stampede, but the arena gonna trap him in as Palos, he will rush for more. But nobody's left. Everybody else does retreat. OB.Neon, so aggressive now. This is their timing after all. They've got to make everything happen while they can. It's going to be another smoke up. As for, you did commit arena for that Centaur kill. I'm not sure it exactly matters. Neon going to be able to find much as Nando, he has backed off. In fact, everyone's back into the Dire base. But if you're OB.Neon, I mean, you're just looking towards that bottom tier 2 tower now. It's the only outer tower left standing.
It's going to be a really easy objective to take. I think the Execration are very happy they dropped those earlier wards to spot out that attempt from Neon after that engagement. It does buy them some time to just regroup and reset. They might have to play high ground at this point. And this is where you're seeing a bit of the draft back and forth coming out. Sure, you've got Stampede to escape. You can't really use it to escape Dream Coil and Arena. That's where the counterplay comes in for Neon. And again, where it comes in where the spell usage from Execration has to matter. They have to engage with a Stampede as much as possible instead of disengage, because disengaging from a puck and more as Stampede is just not going to work out. So it feels like Execration has to be on the offensive here, Mike, and I don't think they've managed to do that all too well in some time now. They're still trying to constantly build up on Nando. He does have the full SNY up. The Basher's not too far off. I think we need to also start thinking about Bob's here. He's stalled out. He does have a Force Staff coming in, I believe, so it should be easier for him to get into position to follow through and set up with the Astrals. But he needs way more in the OD to really be a menace.
Execration, they're going to try again for that top tier 2 tower. Moonlight Shadow pop, Mamandaya may get caught. Carlo there with the Yule Scepter in time, does catch up the pass. Meteor Hammer there, Mengsedih, he's gone. No buyback available. Execration though, they're retreating against Nando. He'll move back in. Beach Grip down. Palos, he's still fine. Beach Grip is cancelled immediately as Nando. He'll keep trying to chase down the TA, but it's all too late. They need to get the hell out.
Yes.
Pete. Or maybe they don't. Palos. Just chipping at Bob on the OD. Be it. I mean, Mengsedih goes down, and that's a very nice kill there for Execration, but once again, they are unable to find any form of objective out of that. We'll have to kind of just lick their wounds and back off for now, and maybe just wait out the next Roshan and perhaps go for a fight over that.
I think that's the ideal situation for Execration, because that's going to allow them to really think about the objectives next. Once they've got that secondary life up and running, they are still clumped around a triangle. They've got really good control on this area of the map. My 3 wards watching across the diagonal of that area. They can always go in for these plays.
Armor gets stunned up by Kidnizu, and that'll be your Weaver gone. Another nice pick up here from Execration. Roshan 5 seconds away from spawning, but top lane, or rather bot lane, Palos ends up killing off Nando. Alright, that's a little bit concerning here, as there is no buyback available for the Troll Warlord. And so Palos, he'll just go onto that tier 3 tower. Mumung dies into the backside, and they just blow up Vincenzo. He just disappears.
Radiant's top tower is under
Kamizu,
attack.
wait, he's a tanky centaur, but he's not that tanky. In fact, Enryu does catch him out with the arena down. They've got another.
Radiant's top tower
There is buyback on Kamizu if he needs it. And he may, as Vincenzo's died back immediately. Palos is just doing way too much damage. Enryu, he's back in on a bomb, forcing the BKB out. Kamizu, full buyback as well with a stampede. They'll at least try and find Enryu, but it's not good enough. There's no damage output. Back to the bot racks they go.
Bottom barracks are under attack.
There is no stopping OB.Neon. Not for this bot racks
Bottom barracks at far.
prison. They will respect Nando, though they will back off.
Yep, they've gotten really easy angle for the Roche here if they want to, Mike. You've been pointing out it is back up. That is Roche number 2 with the Ag Shard. And it's not going to take too long with the damage output of Palos. He's got the full Daedalus up. He's going to the Swift Blink next. His damage will skyrocket once you hit that point. For Execration, and Nando, he bought out the Basher, but he's going into Satanic, so he's trying to play the long game, trying to have 2 ways of staying alive in the middle of these team fights. It might pay off, but it's still going to take a while longer for the troll to really hit its spike, and our OD as well has started to lag a bit behind. Number 3 net for it, but the gap between Bob and Nando and Palos is pretty wide, so our OD is like an item behind. He needs to take his time to build up, get some more int items up. Looks like we're looking for Bob to finish up a Sight of Vice. And once the Hex is ready, again, more control for Execration to get the jump in and kind of maybe try to play against that Dispel that Abeng has with the shield. That's the big issue right now. They jump in, they initiate. If they don't find the Abaddon and isolate him out somehow, or, you know, if Abeng's in the right spot, your entire engagement there for Execration, your entire start of that fight is just gone. I think that's been such a big factor for Neon, just ensuring that they've got ways to angle themselves back in. It's because Abeng is in the right spot at the right time, saving his cores and forcing Execration to commit so much for they can't even kill.
Well, mid lane, Mengsedih. Playing fire there. Roshan is happening. The Palos and Narman, they'll get to work as the distraction was being run in the mid lane. Regardless of what you do, I don't think Execration could have even thought about fighting this one out. Aegis, though, is still on the deck. Somebody's going to pick it up, and Palos does take it. So now you might just wait out that Eagle song here from Palos, and it might be about that time to go back high ground. It's doing so much damage and is just so much further ahead than anyone else on this TA. Execration, they are just well and truly stuck in their base now. And there is no getting out unless you win a fight.
Invisibility.
The question is, though, how do you do it?
I mean, Execration have pretty decent high ground control. They still have really good single target pickoff potential, but they don't have the wards to back off that play style. And the vision of Neon's great, though.
Arrow's gonna just land on a creep. Nice attempt. You gotta shoot your shot, considering the circumstances. You can't hold back.
Yeah.
Palos does have the full Swift link up now, though, John, so I think high ground's coming.
Yeah, he can just siege right now if they want to. He has the protection of the Aegis. I think ideally for Execration, they'd have some wards watching outside and they'd look for pickoffs. Their high ground, again, is pretty decent, but their main control, it's like hoof stomp and AoE. Maybe one person astral up and one person gripped up. But all of that control is just counteracted by Abing. If he's just in the right spot, not really being punished in the back line.
Oh, Andrew, yeah, he got a great target, John. Bob will go down immediately as Carlo's also gone. Tips back up from among Daya. He's been gripped up, but he is still fine as Kimizu tries to jump in. Narman's gone. Henry, he'll keep going though. With the arena down, they've caught out Nando, but the battle trance, it's going to be there in time. He can still survive just a little bit longer as he chases in the Mars, but among Daya, he's back in. Henry is down. On Nando, he does make his escape. He is out of there as Mamang Daya now. He's the one in danger, but he'll alter the low ground. Now, join his teammates as Palos is going to try and man up and just fight the best he can against the troll wall of Nando. He's doing quite a bit of damage, or is he? Through the refraction they go. They got the Aegis down. Can they get him a second time? Nando's low. Still fine though as they just perma-stun up the TA. And Palos will drop as Mamang Daya now. Tried to go in after the troll, but it's just not enough damage. Arrow connecting perfectly from Carlo as they run in one by one after Nando.
Killing spree.
Gets the kill they wanted. They just clean up Execration. They make the high ground defense work.
There is a bit of overcommitment there from Neon though, Mike. They kept re-engaging through the buybacks of Execration, and those did pay off. Like, Abing was still doing a great job of protecting all his heroes in front. Great shields were coming out, but eventually they just commit to onto one hero, burst him down, clean up. And Neon has to be very careful about forcing long fights because Bob gets stronger and stronger as he builds up the Astral Imprisonment spam, building up to a lot of damage in that sentence. And of course, his constant damage output now with pure damage on the orbs, on the Arcane Orbs, is consistent. To the point where the OD is going to be hurting a little bit more than you'd expect, even without too much itemization coming out. And with Nando and Satanic up, he's got multiple ways of staying alive up front. Unfortunately for them, they've got DD as well, so they can just siege high ground while it's up. And with the troll, this doesn't take too much time.
That's a lot of damage. I mean, Nando, he makes very short work of that mid-rack, as there is no chance of defense from OB.Neon.
Barracks have fallen.
Rio Narman, they'll make the chase down on Execration, but they will find nothing. Suddenly, the tables have kind of turned here between Execration and OB.Neon. Like, I dare say Execration might have found themselves in the lead now. The net worth just pretty much even. Now we've gotten to a point where Carlo's got the full sight visor.
Yeah, it becomes a lot easier for them to pin down that pesky Puck, or even the TA, which she's not going to be able to blink around, just do what she wants. And the constant bashing coming through from Execration is just a bit of an issue, right? Nando with the basher is doing so much work. He's got root, he's got the bash to play with. The disarm usage of OB.Neon is going to be really important, so Henry has a lot of pressure on him to find the perfect moment to get that Heaven's Halberd off. And it's just a matter of when, because you kind of want to save that for the battle trance, but if you see your core being twacked away, getting bashed up, you feel pressure to use it then you're gonna give Nando that opportunity to build up. Still looking for
Carlo Yule's up through the meld strike. Enryu though, he's already committed the spear. In fact, a big hoof stomp out. Kimizu, he got 3 targets with that. There's no backup. Katarina now gonna be dropped by Enryu, but who are we aiming? Nando, he's fine. He's got the BKB up. That coil has been committed. That is the axe coil. So stun is there on the control, but now the Fiend's Grip gonna hold one down. Nando, he'll just keep going and keep trying to find a target. Palos is still out to a line throughout all this as well. Bob, he does get a double though. Narman and Beck both down. Palos, he'll just keep running, keep kiting, but Kimizu does catch him, and now the arrow comes in. They've got Palos down. Mamang Daya does at least find Bob, but it doesn't feel that worth for OB.Neon. They are still in the chase. Oh, the sight device, it does connect here from Carlo into the arrow now. Aeon Disc, it was already procced earlier. Another great team fight from Execration. OB.Neon, they tried so hard, John, but Well, they didn't get too far.
Yeah, and they have no buybacks, so this is a big opportunity for Execration to just force in. Because Nando's up, he can just melt the towers, no problem. Doesn't have too much to worry about. Battle Trance and BKB coming up in time as
Not
well,
much good's
in case
happening to
Neon do
Radiant's
want to go for a
bottom
defensive
tower.
play. So this is Execration just kind of reeling it back in. They're going to even out the bot lane with super
Radiant's
creeps of their
bottom
own.
tower has
On
fallen.
mid lane, they can just kind of clean up if they
Radiant's
wanted to.
middle barracks are
There
under
are
attack.
some, they've still got some stalling tactics here in Neon with the disarms and the stuns, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think Nando's in a good point to just put his body forward this time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's still got the Trance on. Trance, BKB, both available with a Satanic on top. So Nando, he's sitting pretty. That'll be the secondary lane of barracks here for Execration. They are still trying to just
Radiant's bottom
defend
barracks have fallen.
something here for OB.Neon, but really in a position where they can. Not without Palos and Mengsedih. So now one lane of barracks left for OB.Neon. More importantly, Roshan is going to be up in 1 minute. And John, you look at that graph, it's a pretty sharp nosedive down for the side of Execration. Very, very kind of back and forth game here between these two as now they found out the Abaddon, but a bang, he's going to be left alone. Tenzo just going to throw out the casual nightmare and that'll be enough for him. Like I mentioned earlier, this next Roshan, it's just too important for either side.
And you've got a pretty good advantage now for Execration going in there. There's still good AE control from Neon, right? Like they've got Arena, they've got that Dream Coil Ags on Mengsedih as well. But this feels like Execration stand chat, but their timings are there. They've got a Hex up on Bob and on Carlo, so double Hex is coming through. The TA and the Puck is going to be very vulnerable to control. There's a smoke and smoke though.
Here he is, Nando. He's going to pay for the team, but they got the spear out in time. He's still fine, but the fact Nando, he's going to double damage route. So the damage up, it's going to be way too high. OB.Neon, they might need to just cut out this team fight. It doesn't look good for him as Nando, he's gone in. He found Palos, but the refraction charges to allow him to blink away, at least for now, but a bang now. He's been caught out, or has he? They actually got Nando. The BKB's there. Satanic, no, it was not in time. Nando ends up dropping his Palos. He now turns back around onto Kimizu, and that should be another. They got the Centaur gone. They'll find the Bane as well. And that looked like a very rough start to the team fight for OB.Neon, but they make their way out and they just kind of reinitiate back in.
It's really good use of the Heaven's Halberd coming through from Henry. I think he managed to stall out. Execration have no really easy way of melting through Palos' refraction. You can't just rely fully on your troll. He has to get chain bashes to get that working. Sometimes you're just not lucky. Buybacks are forced out, so they should be able to get the hold here.
Mengsedih, X is going to catch him out. Keep in mind, he does not have Aeon Disc right now. It is on cooldown. Going to try and find a retreat. Maybe just leave it behind to just tank the gank. In fact, never mind that, because Enryu has been caught by Nando with the bashes. We're trying to go in Fizz. BKB up, but none of it matters. Zabet tried for the TP up, but is not going to be able to make it. He'll eventually drop. So OB.Neon, they went from a great team fight to a high ground push to what appears to be a counter push now, or perhaps a Roshan from Execration.
And this is a big opening for Execration. And the Roche is scouted out by Neon, so they know it's up. And they could have made that play for it instead, but they want to force the issue onto mid. That's going to force buybacks to defend that Roche. They've got the Arena, they've got the Dream Coil here on Neon, so they can force the engagement inside. They're going to have to move quick. Roshan's not going to last long at all.
Certainly isn't. Dying, going to try and delay things as best as he possibly can. With the whole team making their way over right now from the Radiant, but Nando just getting to work, does have the agent. Bob, he'll take it himself. Narman's already gone, the Weaver. Hex out onto Mengsedih to boot. But the Arena is going to keep him safe. Mengsedih, he'll just keep the chase up onto Vincenzo. May even found Kimizu. So you got the Roshan on Execration's end, but you've got two heroes down without buyback now.
Trade-off for Neon, I think you're still kind of happy about that for Execration. So they can sit back, they can play a bit defensively, they can wait for the respawn, and just re-engage forwards. They've got the safety net on their core OD with the Aegis. They don't need to worry about Bob just immediately getting blown up. He can focus in, get as much astrals off, try to get max use of the side of Vice, and look for the bigger opportunity with the Santi's Eclipse. We're reaching the point in the game here, Mike, where BKBs are trickling down to 6 seconds already. So your immunity period away from the ODs, not that long, and Bob's gonna have a good time in control if you're not careful.
Next out to get onto Mengsedih, but this time the Aeon disc was available. OB.Neon or Palos going right after Bob, but doesn't quite have the damage output yet as another Hex is there, but a Bang does save with the Abonic shield.
Dire's top barracks so far.
Poprax is going to go down as OB.Neon. They'd love to go for the Megas while these two heroes are down with that buyback. Palos will get to work. Nando, he's going to have to try and defend by himself here. He does get the batches out, but Mengsedih again just going to delay as the coil's there to hold them down. They've got Bob and Carlos wrapped up right now, but the Sanities has got Narva down. A Bang, he'll make a run. Palos, meanwhile, gonna try and man fight Nando, but Nando, he'll bash through the BKB. He'll just keep going with the battle trance out with the meld. There is no detection. In the meantime, in the backside, Carlo, he's gone down. He will buy back. In the meantime, a Bang caught out the Abaddon. So a bit of a back and forth there. They did get the Aegis off Bob to boot, but they will hold that battle line of barracks here for Execration.
Prize is mine.
Such an even game, Mike. I think you were talking about the graph earlier. It's just kind of ricocheted back and forth, staying at almost 50-50 at 42 minutes in, just showing us how close Neon Execration are. This match 27-30, 2K lead for Execration doesn't amount to much. I think every single core pairing is pretty much on par with each other. Maybe Kimuzu's the one that's falling a bit behind, but that's compensated by Carlos' additional farm. So you have a lot of ways of approaching fights on both ends. It does feel like Execration might look to force this one out. They still have a little bit of a window for them to get that done. They've still got the cheese running on Nando as well, which they could pass on to Bob, kind of keep their OD safe. Yeah, they're just going to go for the play, knowing that they have the numbers advantage and no buybacks here.
Bob's in, but the lights out. They've got Palos. Can they hold on to it? No, it looks like they can. Palos will buy back immediately. He needs to get back into this fight. They've caught out Mengsedih though as well. They've got the puck down. Another buyback committed. Nando, he's trapped in the arena. Can they take him out? He'll eat the cheese. He's trying to survive, but he'll have to turn the fight. In fact, maybe the life still. It might be enough. He's surviving at least for now. But the halberd is there at Palos. He gets the troll down. No buyback available for Nando. As Bob now, he's been trapped up and completely surrounded by OB.Neon.
For Heresy's
Here we go again, John. Two down with that buyback for Execration. And Palos, he is rushing through the mid lane.
Oh yeah, they see an opening here on Neon's end. They know they can go for the mega creep play at the least, maybe even going their closeout if they do feel it happening. But we've seen Execration make that same mistake. So it's a lot of back and forth. Both sides have been surprising us with their counterplays on each end, but I think we're at the point where RTA, if it's left unchecked, will just go through. MKB's up, attack speed's up, the evasion piercing through the evasion pierce with the MKB also kind of making short work for Troll in the middle of that fight. Takes away a lot of the EHP he gets, but his axe is being tossed out. They've got answers lined up here on Neon's end. And surprisingly enough, our birthday boy has not reached X timing. Narman has constantly queued it up. We've never seen that defensive play. Hasn't been necessary. Obba's been doing a ton of work. Their stall tactic here on Execration, though, Mike. They've got the Crimson Guard for this time on Kimuzu. They can try to buy time, but it's a lot of time they have to stall out for Nando to be back up.
Yeah, I don't think Palos cares about the Crimson Guard.
The Radiant now
He
has
falls now under siege. OB.Neon, they know there's no buyback available, so Kimuzu, he's going to jump in. Feature found. They've got the Weaver down, so Narman, he's down with that buyback, but you've got to worry about Palos. He's the main problem here, and he's got Vincenzo gone. So it's a 3v2 situation. There's still a chance for Execration to try and defend this. But Albert is out. They've got Bob, but he's got the Gold Scepter. More time is being bought as Bob. He will try to just astral himself up. This is the T4 now. Is gone as the Ancient is exposed. Bob still trying to make his way back to the fountain, but it looks like he'll have to fight. He's got to bring down, but Palos just wipes him out. Here comes Nando though. He has respawned on the Troll, and it looks like he is actually going to force them back. So Ancient exposed, the Mega Creeps are there, but they're going to make the chase in. The Mirana XL, they have caught the TA again. Abyssal Blade out as well with the Battle Trance. They have got Palos with the Melt Strike. Where's the detection? Somebody buy some dust.
Just about
Palos, he is fine. The Melt will keep him safe. They turn back in onto Nando. They've got him again. Oh no, Palos.
Unstoppable!
The
Double
most
kill!
valuable melds I've ever seen. Everybody can just see through the invis. But OB.Neon, I mean, it was a great game one between these two. But they managed to make their way through and take out the game one.
Yeah, really good news for Neon. Excellent news for Norman. Our birthday boy must be feeling pretty happy, although it's not showing in his face. But they find that win on Neon. A very tight match. I think that's to our expectations there. I think all of us in the panel would have expected this one to be probably the closest match we've had so far. And it was a lot of back and forth, lots of network swings, lots of openings for both sides. In the end, OB.Neon rises up there, but I wouldn't say that was a very clear-cut victory. Like, I think they just managed to capitalize on some mistakes that Execration made, but it wasn't flawless from either side. So I'm keen to see what happens in game 2. I think we might get 3 games here, Mike.
Oh, I'd love to see it, John. Our first 2-1 potentially is going to be upon us, but I can't wait to see what happens in game 2. We are going to head off to a short break, but right after that break, we'll be back with our second game of this best of 3.
The battle resumes! 5 seconds remaining. Dire team's turn to ban.
好的，欢迎回来，各位观众朋友们，大家好！您现在收看到的是21至2022赛季 S 组的一场 BO3 对决，由 Execration 对阵 OB.Neon。上一把的
10
话，
seconds left.
Neon 是1-0险胜啊，真的是险胜。
Some solo smoke to get to the creeps faster, you wanna
I
cry.
was thinking, well, the new meta, the Tinker, smoking to kill Ancient.
Yeah, you saw that.
That's some Dota stuff right there. I don't know.
People that smoke to farm, horrible people.
Yeah.
Or meepos are the same nowadays because you can poof to kill it ancients.
Right.
But you die if you just keep waiting for the poof to last. You smoke and you keep poofing the ancients down.
10 seconds
It's such a
remaining.
waste. It's so bad.
I think it's funny
5
to see
seconds
that.
remaining.
It is funny, yeah.
Radiant
Especially
team
funny
ban.
because I know that some players will harass their teammates to get those smokes, and that's it. It adds an extra layer of social engineering to it.
Cannot explain how upset it makes me as like an offlaner when someone uses a smoke for some asinine shit. I'm like, bro, are you serious? That is my kill smoke. I need that. Like, what are you doing?
Why do you talk like that when you talk about
seconds
bombs?
remaining.
Why do you?
The one I find that's terrible that used to be like kind
5
of
seconds
okay
remaining.
is like the 4 or 5 position pudges using a bunch of solar smoke to gank mid. And it's like these mid gank, the one smoke may be okay, but as soon as they're using a second or third, just because they don't want to like
Radiant
support the
team's turn to
silence, they're like, I'm just gonna go smoke gank mid, hook this SF from the high ground while I'm smoked, and even if you get the kill, it's like something they've used like 3 smokes, and it's not even worth it.
You already picked Pudge. How much more do you want to grief my game?
Yeah.
We have a draft in front of us, though.
Wonderful.
So they first picked Doom,
10
which
seconds remaining.
used to be a staple
Radiant
from a
team's
couple
turn
of
to
teams in the
pick.
region. Very greedy playstyle, but not something we've seen from this current iteration of OB.Neon.
I think Enryu was playing it. They were like first phasing it for Enryu in one of their series at some point, which I cannot remember exactly. And they were pairing it with the Grimstroke, I think.
Okay. In Manila Master, I think you were telling me about this.
Perhaps.
10
Just escapes
seconds
my
remaining.
mind.
She has a lot of knowledge. It's just that
Lots of
you can't
vague
contain
knowledge.
it all.
5
Yeah,
seconds
it's like
remaining.
certain facts, but not others. So I know that Enryu plays the Doom and they first phased it, but beyond that, nothing.
Interesting headphone placement there.
Are they together or?
Yeah, it's one close to your teammates,
Dire
right?
team's turn to
I know a lot of teams don't like using TeamSpeak and they like to speak in real life. And
That's why they pause when the game starts, because they're suddenly like, oh wait, yeah, we're not on TeamSpeak.
yeah, exactly. Yep, that's very common. In the draft, they'll speak in real life, and then afterwards they'll get on comms.
We can relate, you know, we're talking in person. Well, you got both. You
Dire
got the
team ban.
in-ear as well as our voice.
I can't hear you. I only hear you in here, so yeah.
Radiant
Call.
team's turn to
Poggies,
ban.
we love Grimstroke Doom, super easy combo. Really nice as well against Centaur Warrunner because you're wanting to ult and run away, and Grimstroke just binds you together and says you cannot run in different directions. You must run together. You know when you like played that game as a kid where they like three-legged race and stuff? It's like actually
Oh
so
my God.
hard, bro. These people like
10 seconds
Yeah.
they
remaining.
can't coordinate.
That was one of those kids athletic games that was
5 seconds
actually
remaining.
impossible if you tried to it fast. The wheelbarrow was fine, but as soon as they tied your legs together, people are face planning.
Exactly.
Dire team's turn to
But
ban.
I mean, on the other hand, if you are dooming someone that's not Centaur and they do have coordination, which I would hope they do as a pro team, they could potentially get away scot-free because of Stampede.
That's true.
It's a pretty nice way to disengage from both Snapfire Ult and Centaur. Sorry. That is not true at all. They're on the same team. Nope, they're on the same team, guys.
It's a good way to disengage from Doom.
It's a
5
good way.
seconds
Yes,
remaining.
thank you. All right, so that's nice. They're gonna.
You can use the Snapfire Ags is what you would try and say.
Radiant
So
team
if
ban.
someone gets doomed, Snapfire can save them by shooting them up.
Right, exactly.
Sure, yeah,
that's a very good
not
point,
what I was
Sheeple.
saying at all.
Yeah.
But I
No, that's a
appreciate
very
that
good point, yeah.
thanks, guys. I do think though that maybe they should look towards a Wraith King ban if you're Neon, because committing a Doom onto
Dire
Wraith
team
King,
ban.
come back to life.
Radiant
Kinda sad.
team's turn to
Yep.
ban.
There we go. It's also one of Nando's favorite heroes, so of course you need to get rid of it. Like,
Yep.
it's just a double.
Great fan of that.
Mine? I mean, I would say that at that point you're just maybe going for like the Medusa though. The Medusa still being the pool is something both teams surely have their eyes on.
Yeah, Neon could use it too.
They're probably looking at last game like, okay, kind of slow pace farm game. What
10
hero? Like
seconds
they're
remaining.
expecting a similar style of game. These teams aren't just going to radically change their play style. That's partly
5
why I think
seconds
Doom
remaining.
rose in priority, because this is one of those heroes that shines in those kind of games. Devour, Midas Gold. You're playing for 30 to 40 minute timings. Doom is going to be one of the best heroes to have on your team. So I would expect.
Yeah, and Execration just banning out carries that deal well with Centaur. Conquer being played in the safe lane a lot as of late. Lifestealer, both these heroes are gonna like lay nicely into Snapfire Centaur, because that is a strong lane, but there are heroes that can exist in it, and they're just taking it out to make sure they have a nice game.
Radiant
Also
team's
ranged
turn
heroes
to
and
pick.
Lifestealer, right? TA is another good option here as well.
Dire team's turn to pick.
Dying.
TA,
Okay.
so.
I think OB.Neon should actually pick up the Dusa. Grimstroke Dusa is a really strong combo, to be
Dire
honest,
team's
and easy to
turn to pick.
execute.
Yeah.
Radiant
That's just like
team's
a game
turn
of
to pick.
picking up who might pick it first, or they're just not going to pick it at all.
Oh, there would be a Naga.
I don't like Naga, especially into blind pick, but we'll see how it goes. I think the Undying pick was fantastic. I think we saw a lot of Undying strength as a hero that gives vision when it was picked in the finals of TI.
10 seconds remaining.
Especially when you're playing against Doom, if you're able to put a tombstone up on high ground, see where
5
his Doom
seconds
is
remaining.
with Grimstroke, cancel a blink maybe, then suddenly he's just like really
Dire
struggling
team's
to
turn
get
to
to where he
ban.
wants to be to Doom
The
pause.
sack.
Yep, there you go. That's why you pick Naga.
Yeah. Kind of force Execration in direction to deal with these illusions, and
That's
Leshrac looks great. Good mid, solid mid matchup, good against Naga. It's a hero that you can Doom, like it is a Doom
10
target, but it's not like the
seconds
best.
remaining.
Like Leshrac, if you've got like your ultimate on or you already cast an edict, you can still do AoE
Radiant
damage
team
and
ban.
even get some life steal and heals from like an Undying to kind of
Dire
survive
team
you,
ban.
take you through it. So
There's no way. Wait, there's no way they're last picking a 5 here, right? Assuming there's
Radiant team's turn to ban.
Like, what
Probably,
if,
I mean, it's fine to last pick a 5 if you feel like you want heroes to, before they get banned out. And I'm assuming that because they have Doom already, they're feeling really confident that, sure, our Naga's going to get carried, but we can Doom the counters, and we have 2 Dooms because we're playing with Grimstroke, so it gives her even
Okay.
more like
okay,
agency in a
seconds
fight
remaining.
to be safe.
there's no way this is Naga 5.
Could it
5
be?
seconds remaining.
unlikely. I don't think they hurt.
Oh, it's just a walk
haven't
and
seen-
snare, but you have the double
No,
and snare.
I actually really vibe with that. I feel like this could be a
Dire
really
team's
sick
turn
Naga
to
5, especially because they're now like forcing Execration to counter it, and they're like,
Exactly.
oh, we gotta counter this Naga, guys, we can't just let her get away with this. They're like, psych!
You commit the left.
Well, if they had final pick the draft short, but if they pick a carry here, then Execration is just gonna last pick their carry based on it.
They have
There's
lots
left-
of
10
lockdown.
seconds
Yeah, I feel
remaining.
like the Leshrac's good whether Naga's support or carry. Still a
Radiant
good hero to
team's
have
turn
mid
to
against.
pick.
There we go.
Oh, good call. Ava's fantastic. Nice shout.
Swapsy.
Yeah. The thing I feel like with this is like I don't think this is like some gotcha thing. Like for Execration, they still have the last pick of their draft. They can get a Terrorblade against this if they want to. Like,
10
they haven't
seconds remaining.
over countered this Naga where it's like, okay, we've completely screwed up our
5
draft
seconds
countering a carry
remaining.
Naga that's no longer a carry.
Interesting is that you can actually swap Loon and Naga interchangeably in this sense.
True.
So I guess if
Luna
it's
before,
TP,
yeah.
you could put Naga carry
I don't think
and then
Naga
counter.
was-
Yeah, we've seen the Luna support from a few teams.
Yeah, that's why. Like it's.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not the worst.
kind of cool.
I mean, it's pretty unique. This reminds me of old OB.Neon, by the
Yeah.
way.
I definitely think that they should run Luna as a carry
All right.
no matter what.
You're selling me on that. This flex where they can swap their
No,
carry
they
and their
should not.
support.
They should not swap this Naga and Luna. Please, God, don't do that.
You finally convinced me to hop
No.
on over, and now you're
No, I
saying
said
no.
sorry. I was talking about like it can work like Luna into a counter. I didn't mean
Yeah.
Luna can work as a 5 position. I don't want that. I
Well, it could be
don't.
Grim 5, Luna 4.
Grim. Oh, I suppose, but I don't want. I don't want it.
Choose your hero.
Okay, yeah, actually.
carry Luna.
I'm trying to like figure out how these guys are gonna play their game because there's a lot of like unorthodox stuff happening here, and
I'm hyped.
I'm kind of. I don't see a proper playmaker like on outside of Ember. Like who runs with Ember? Like they get Doom and Grimstroke all when they want to, but it's hard for them to like. No one here buys a Blink Dagger really outside of Doom, and he's probably gonna maybe greed out and get like a Midas or something first because that's what Doom players do. I see. It seems hard for Neon to do what they want, and Execration are just like we're going to defend our towers and fight, and Medusa will get farm, and then we will try and do something.
Definitely a game where OB.Neon don't seem to have a problem, much like Game 1, with having these supports that aren't big playmakers. Last game with the Abaddon, they're more about team fights, mid-game. So I think we're going to be in for another like 20-25 minutes, farm up our items, and then go fight around like BKB timing. Curious to see how it goes. I think Execration can play faster tempo if they want. Leshrac, Dialogue Edict, great pushing towers, so maybe an opening for
Let's see how those fights turn out after what could be an uneventful early game, but what's always eventful is having this wonderful cast. Hello, gentlemen, MOP, Dota, John X Fire.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are into our second game between Execration and OB.Neon to answer the very important question as to whether we're actually going to see a 2-1 this week at the very least or not. It is an OP, Dota, and John X Fire. John, welcome back, sir. Apparently, we have a position 5 Naga Siren in the game. Could you explain to me why that's good? That's a good thing.
It's Abing's signature. It's something he's played a lot of, and it's something he's used to across the teams he's played in. So it's something they love, and I think just having a bit of goal. They're wishing each other luck. You know, this again. This is. I think Norman said it in the lobby where this is 5 Pinoys versus 4 Pinoys in an invitation. So Norman considers himself Filipino, even though I don't think he knows too much Filipino yet. But the spirit counts. We'll accept him. And everyone's still in the high spirits. Everyone's calling each other plastic right now. You know, fake. But no one's fake. We're all actual friends. But when it comes to Dota, Mike, you gotta play your best, right? So maybe some of that plastic does come in. We'll see. Again, back to the point about the Naga. It's an Abing signature. So we'll see if he can pull out all the stops. I think there's some potential. It does lead to a bit of a slower time, especially in the laning phase. We might see something similar to game 1 where it takes a little bit longer. And Bob does give a shout out to Norman. Birthday boy does get his shout out. Why is he mixing Norman up with Mamang Daya? That's an interesting one. Haven't seen that.
Neither have I, John. Definitely happy birthday to Norman, of course. It's good to see one of the players actually called it out. I was wondering when that was going to happen. Top side of the bounties, they might have a bit of a fight, but no. The Naga illusion, too big of a deal. Be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounty room. While we're here, we may as well just start off with the mid lane. Of course, you've got Bob there on the left, and he is going to be against Mamang Daya once again. The Lesh versus Ember matchup, a bit more of an awkward matchup between the two. It does feel like the Leshrac should have a decent enough advantage here. And we did see Bob completely dominate the mid lane last game around. Do you expect a similar thing to happen here against Mamang Daya on the Ember jump?
Yeah, the matchup works out, as the panel pointed out. This is something Bob plays at a really high level as well. Every single time we've seen Execration grab this Lesh, Bob's been on top, hits his timings, looks for the push potential with the Diabolic Edict. So I think he should have a really good time here, and Mamang Daya's got to watch out. He still has good spikes lined up for the Ember. Phase boots into Orb of Corrosion's the usual one, maybe a Javelin tossed in there as well for good measure. But it will take a little bit longer for him to hit that spike compared to the magic damage output of Bob. So Bob might turn on that Wrecker mode this game. We'll see, but I think the lane matchup just works itself out for him.
Oh, make no mistake, I mean, he was the Wrecker last game, John, at least for the first 10 minutes. Completely destroying Mamang Daya, but later on it didn't quite pan out. Still bot lane, of course, as we can see, you've got Nando and Vincenzo against Narman and Enryu. This should be a very boring lane between the Doom and the Medusa. Anything to look out for, Legion?
Yeah, there's some potential for aggression if you manage to maybe get, say, 3 decay stacks onto one hero, get the Soul Rip on along with a good bouncing Mystic Snake, you could actually line up for a kill. Beyond that, you're probably just looking to farm. You could try to run in with Enryu as well. Maybe he gets a good Devour creep by level 3, play with the Inkswell, and try to run down Nando or Vincenzo. Your goal here for the Doom and the Deuce is just to farm. It's a very equal lane in that sense, so the emphasis will be just building up, hit the Midas timing for Enryu.
Against Palos and a Bing. This could be a bit more of an action-packed game because you do have, again, double stuns here from Execration. You got the cookie into the hoof stomp set up there between Kimizu and Carlo. It does feel like OB.Neon, they do have to play this lane very carefully. You just kind of misstep once and it could fall apart. Like, you haven't got a pos 5 that could really save you if you do get caught out as this Luna.
But you can be aggressive. Like, maybe not until Ensnare is up, you're not going to have the best pull to counteract the double stuns on Execration's end. But you have to remember, with the Aura build on Palos, Abing's going to be doing some decent right-click harass as well and trying to proc those Riptides. So there's an opportunity there to be aggressive. You can play around with the illusions. is to get some pulls off and to contest stacks, and I think that's what Obbing's going to have to set out for himself here. Already getting an early rotation towards the bounty rune, maybe looking to skip it out. Eventually the refill coming through from Bob. Again, helping manage Mamang Daya's lane. Every single resource counts for the Lesh, although Daya...
Yeah, ends up going down. Bob once again able to find first blood onto Mamang Daya, but this time around it was solo. It's another fantastic start for Execration as Daya, he's not going to be too happy about that.
It's a great start for Bob, and this is what you expect in that matchup. One little misstep from the Ember, very easy to punish. The Bob set up to have a good time, even though his bounty rune snagged away. It doesn't matter. He's got rune control with the water runes. He's got the level advantage over Mamang Daya. Gets a bit worrisome for Mamang Daya. Again, he needs to hit his item spikes to really dish some damage back. That's gonna be kind of stalled out. He is getting the creep farm going his way. So in terms of CS, in terms of lane control, it is there. The level spike is definitely where that difference with the Lesh and Ember will come out now.
So, it's one of the things with the Leshrac as well, right? Like, this is one of those heroes where you don't really want to give it an XP advantage. It's already the ass as it is with this hero, but the more levels it has, the more snowbally it gets, and more impossible it becomes to train against it. Bob now just almost 2 full levels. And had to hit level 6 on this. Because on the brighter side for OB.Neon, the other lanes are playing somewhat decently. Enryu's having a decent time on this Doom down a bot lane against Nando. So again, there is no real pressure on the Doom right now. So it's a Medusa. You know, you're gonna cop a few right clicks on Mystic Snake, but afterwards you'll just fine to keep spamming your Devour and just keep hitting creeps.
Just a very static lane, focused on farm, and Sensor is trying to kind of zone out Narman. He has to be a bit careful. He's a bit behind the EXP down Pawns 5, very sacrificial, trying to put as much room as possible towards Nando to hit his own level spikes to get the Mystic Snake and the split shot going for the farm down the line. But that will cut off the early spikes of the Undying as well. Very timing sensitive hero. You kind of want to get your Soul Rip up and running, get the Tombstone for value, and run from there. We are seeing Bob being really aggressive, just cutting through. He hits level 6. He knows he's got the damage. He can just easily shove Daya away from the creep wave.
He's doing a great job of it. Bob just not giving any space away to Mamang Daya right now, as even take away the small camp. Bob does get rather low. Thanks to that sleight of fist from Mamang Daya, but not quite low enough to really die off. And Carlo, he'll be there with the salve up to make sure that this Lesh keeps doing what it's doing. Daya just looking for that level 6 mark to be able to play a little bit more aggressively. I think God's kind of pointed this out on the panel jump, but it is to be expected this is going to be a bit of a slower game between these two teams. You kind of do want to take quite a bit of time to just farm up and get those initial items up. You see on that Naga, just both supports rather just stacking up there in jungles respectively, as Carlo and Ben gonna run into each other. It's gonna have Mamang Daya come. You do have a bit of help. Mamang Daya does not have chain skilled up. No way to cancel the TP. He's TP up for the Snapfire.
Manages to bail out to Satan, but Mamang gets to cut through, grab another bounty rune away on the side of Execration once more. Bob's not gonna mind. Gets level 7, he's got level 2 Edict, and they were forced to rotate and keep Narman on mid lane just to prevent that shove in. You are seeing the threat of the Leshrac come true. OB.Neon respect that early timing, put the heroes forward, but now, Bob, Carlo, looking for the smoke play.
They are, but a Beng is gonna be there to break the smoke on the Naga, so I think just fine now. He's gonna land there onto a Beng. Have to settle for another Siren killer. Let's throw Shark and get it.
You take that foul.
Pick up again from Execration as Bob. He's found so many stacks for himself. Oh, this is juicy. Narman, he'll have to watch in pain as Bob just completely wipes the stacks away. You do have your Luna rotating Palos. He may have to sacrifice himself for free. Back now, Mamang Daya is going to rotate with a nice income stun out. But the most you're probably going to get a Snapfire kill. And even that's looking a bit too difficult at the moment for OB.Neon. Back as Bob, he'll start get aggressive now. Back on enough, and he's got him. Nice and easy. They just cannot do anything to fight yet. Not against Bob.
Just a lot of good early aggression coming through from Execration and Oben.
Yeah. You get the quick knee ward out, but that's about all you're going to get as the tips do come out from Execration. Currently 5-0, John. I mean, sure, you're kind of far out of Palos, but I say that. He's in the middle of the net worth board right now, so things are looking pretty rough. OB.Neon, they've got to be very
They're
many
beating on
towers
Dire's
here,
top
otherwise they're going to
tower.
lose that jungle.
Radiant's
Palos is going to
middle
have nowhere to
tower is
fall.
under attack.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough time to get that recovery going
those
for the Luna.
cracks in
She really
Dire's
relied
top
on this
tower?
early attacks. I love the
Dire's top tower
pressure
is
from Execration. They know they've got this early spike, melt the top tier 1. So they've got easier access into that top jungle to cut off. They've also managed to buy out a ton of space out for Nando here, Mike. Ardusa has a very free lane bot. For Neon and Exchange, Enryu is going to have pretty decent timing on the Midas. Not the quickest we've seen, but I think it's a little bit more important for Neon now to maybe take a step back, get these initial items going. If they do want to make a play, it's going to be off the back of Mamang Daya at the moment, who still doesn't have the full phase booster or corrosion out yet. So the right click damage of Mamang Daya with a slight fist spam isn't enough to really burst through just yet, but it's probably the best bet. I think right now you're not ready to show your Luna. You could maybe just casually throw off the Doom for one pick off and go back to farming on the hero, but you're not going to clump up like Execration is. And Execration knows that. They just they've got level 3 edict up. I think they're going to be eyeing mid soon, and Neon has to be ready to kind of counteract that pressure, because once that mid tier 1 goes, I don't know if you can really secure safe stacks for Palos anymore.
Gonna move in. Bang, he's there to try and defend as he does. And stare off. Daya thinking about getting aggressive. Bob will be silenced. Change around. Stampede those can be popped, and Bob. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Daya able to secure the kill on the Bob. And that's a big one, considering how rough of a lane he had on the Ember. You generally do appreciate the extra golden as the Sender Spirit.
Yeah, it helps Mamang Daya again hit that snowball marker. He's got the orb corruption. Looking like he's giving the phase reach, just going straight for the javelin into Maelstrom. So he knows he wants to be aggressive. He's the one to set the pace. Side of Execration aren't really backing off though. Like, they lose their lash, they're still going to chase down Palos and punish the farm.
Oh, it's a great pickup. This is the one target you do not want to see go down if you're OB.Neon. Oh, did not catch a break. Not expecting it as they still hold on to that tier 1 mid, but the support to the side of OB.Neon just feel a little weak right now as Mamang Daya just to play around with bottom this mid lane. But Execration, you know they're kind of looking back into that mid tier 1 again. And now with Kimizu here, it's kind of up to them not to take the tier 1 tower.
He's got protection on Kimizu. He's got Vanguard with fire personality. He's just going to keep running.
Yep. Daya, he's fallen from it out. Soulbind is there. The whole 2 down, or at least 1 for now to get dying. Vincent, he just will run back towards his team. Now Nando will move forward with the stone. Is up. They've already got Enryu down, and now Narman's gone to boot. Such a dominant first 10 minutes for Execration as they just get forward. Neon trying to find their footing here in this game number 2. Execration will smoke up with Bob and Carlo down towards that bot lane. Looking again for Palos, they'll barely miss out. In the meantime, towards north, who's just taken more stacks away, all of which were meant for Palos on that Luna. But he will get nothing apart from a double ancient stack.
Yeah, this is painful. Side of Neon, they're just losing so many resources on the map. Execration's aggression is lining up. You're at the point where even Nando's comfy enough to show up. He knows he's tanky enough to sit for the initial damage. He's got the Yasha, he's got the Dragon Lance. There's some decent stats to contribute to these fights as well. And he's still not being contested when he does pull back, because the side of Neon are just forced to play so defensively with this really greedy draft. They've got to kind of ride through this rough part on Neon's end, hit the point where maybe you get that KB blink up on Enryu and then start playing with the potential of that Soulbind Doom. Because we haven't seen Enryu commit that spell yet.
Gotta be careful. Get called out right now. Fine, I'll just stick around that tier 2 top tower. Bang though. As well, just getting those D wards out from that high jungle. Just such desperate situations. You know how far behind Boss has fallen, but you gotta give props to the man. He is catching
They're
up.
beating on
Top
Dire's top
side,
tower.
and Ryu trying to defend against Bob. Especially Bob's the one to just TP out. Not feeling comfortable trying to go up 10 or 12 minutes in. The farming execration. Back to what I'm saying though. Palos, it's quite impressive considering the fact that all his stacks were taken. And he's done it a couple times now. He is still just 1k behind this Medusa.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of recovering as possible, playing in that bot jungle, dipping into the triangle. But I think they're still getting more about that, right? Like the recovery is coming true, but Palos is playing at the deficit against Medusa. You need an item lead on the Luna. You've got a bit of earlier power spike with a potential for damage coming out, but your strong ult is coming through with your passive as well. So that's what you need to kind of play around with Luna. Execration, smoking out in the right spot, just not catching the right heroes, but they are set up for a good fight if they want.
Oh, they commit everything. They just throw everything but the kitchen sink to make sure Kimizu dies. And they'll get it.
Even the best gladiators
They'll even be. But considering how the game's gone, you may as well just slow the zoom out. Bot lane, Palos has been caught.
Not much good's happening to
Execration, they
Radiant's
just
bottom
find a better
tower.
trade. Palos, you don't want to show on the map like that when everyone else is ganking some hero from Execration.
It's a worthwhile trade for Execration in the end. I mean, they only lose their off lane. They had so many spells on Neon's side. Now, because they do them, they're not going to be able to look for rotation. They're not going to be able to really play aggressive. Mama got willing to put his body forward. That kill does give him the gold needed to kind of finish up his Maelstrom, does
Dire's
look like.
bottom
So
tower is
there's a
being
little
chipped
bit
away.
on the Emperor. And they could play around that tempo now
Radiant's top tower
with
deserves
the lightning
just as
damage
much
coming
help
through,
as
but
bottom.
I
Dire
still
have
don't think it
fortified this
matches up to
vector.
how durable the side of Execration
Dire's
is, how much
bottom
sustain they
tower
have with the
needs
Undying up front. It's just still a bit too much for them to handle.
Yeah, like, Kim is just going to rush in onto a bang, but he's got
a tithe
to disengage. Fine to do so, as you just haven't got that right now on Execration. We got that Naga again. So they all that dire triangle among they'll go after Bob. It feeds off. Bob's got clear hop around. Problem is Dire. The damage output not enough. So Vincenzo with the soul just in the nick of
Dire's bottom tower
time
is
to
being
save
chipped away.
his left rack. Bob, he will get out just by a hair.
I've said it right.
Dire's
There's so
bottom
much
tower is under
riding on
attack.
Mama Guy to get the aggression, but he just doesn't have enough to get that done. There's a lot of
Dire's
sustain,
bottom tower
a
is
lot of
falling.
damage coming through from Execration. He needs backup. And for that backup, he needs to play with you, really. So I think they have to reel it in on Neon's side. Play this much more defensive game. They're doing a good job of still buying space out for Palos, but they can't sacrifice the Ember. It's got to be the supports running around. I think when you see Abing committing the song to escape, that's fine. It's wasting time for Execration. It needs to be Abing and to a certain extent, Narman kind of putting their bodies forward to stall out for these three cores to equally build up here on Neon's end.
5k it to that Execration. Just buying 8 more time for Nando. Palos doing his best to just try and keep up. Nando is well and truly starting to pull ahead now, working on towards that Aghanim Scepter.
Dire's
The
top
team fights
tower
become
is
that
under
much
attack.
more difficult when you've got that axe up on your Medusa. You do smoke up as 5. Or even a blink up now at the Snapfire. Then renew a bang, they do break the smoke. Kimizu's in. Who do they want to focus though? I mean, Stampede is available, but they're going to settle for a bang instead. They won't bother trying, and mid-lane though, they did find Nando on that Medusa, but it's only Mamankaya. Split kind of team fight here. From OB.Neon, just trying to see if they can find Nando, but he proved to be a little bit too tanky. Mamankaya get caught. There is the sunset, and he does go down again. The Execration. Able to find the lockdown. They're looking to move in.
They've got an easy end.
Radiant's
You
bottom
can
tower
just
is
pick
under
up front.
attack.
Very durable center right now. Bob's through even as well. You're trying to find an angle onto the center, but it's your support undying. He's not going to mind too much focus. It's hard. Buys a lot of space. Neon. The angle is for the play here. They've got the song ready in Abeng. I think they've.
Okay. Just goes down in this turn. Barely able to get away from Bob. I do agree, Jim. It's hard to find an angle right now for OB.Neon. I suppose we could have the same thing this game around as well. In fact, but they found it. This feels like one of those games where you're very reliant on those dooms to come out. Even the double doom soul behind it. But naturally, Palos, he needs some space. He needs some time to catch up, and even then, the Luna vs Medusa matchup isn't exactly Luna favored.
Yeah, it's a bit of top one scaling into the late game. Like Medusa has a lot of utility coming through. We're seeing non-patch rush for the eggs here, Mike. So the stone form is going to be there. It's going to make it a lot easier to focus in on Luna until a beacon heats up. For Palos, he does have it running. There's some counterplay potential, but then you still have to go with the Stone Gaze in the end, so can still be a bit of an awkward back and forth. Neon, they're going to go for the smoke up. They've got the BKB and Enryu. I think they're a little bit more confident in finding an angle and keeping in. Just BKB Doom, a focus on one target, clean up and retreat. Rinse and repeat around that tempo. Neon can just kind of pull off this hit and run style and stall out the aggression of Execration. Might hit that point where Palos can really start to flex the damage of that Luna, and maybe even start to get some more EXP and gold flowing out to the supports. Like Abing's got a lot of utility into the late game if he does manage to reach that point where he does get the farm.
Mizu. Spotted here by a bank, but he'll be the first one to jump in. Doom is out onto the Centaur. Give the help around. Solman come in, but the Mortimer kisses the full name back in onto Henry, but they're still trying for that Centaur. In the meantime, though, Bob, he does kill off Narman, and they can't actually kill off Kamizu. The Soul Rip is more than enough to keep him alive as a bang. He has forced the song up just so they can retreat.
Radiant's top tower is
What do you
under
think about that,
attack.
John? I mean, do you doom the
A lucky find.
Is that the target?
Dire's
I
bottom
mean,
tower needs some help.
It's a forced fight from Neon.
It
It's
looks like Dire
they were
fortified their
smoked up, they were
structures.
under pressure to make a play. They didn't find anyone else. They just jumped the center, hoping he's
Radiant's top
alone.
tower
They don't
deserves
have the
just as
info
much
to really
help
make
as
that
bottom.
work. They've got a couple wards walking the riverside, but it's still not enough. I think just trying to
Dire.
again.
He's been caught out again with
Dominate.
stop, and he's gone. Vincenzo able to take the kill for himself, and it's been a very rough time for Momongdai on this Ember. Execration now looking to move into tier 2 tower. It's going to be easy pickings with Bob around. Well, they might even try for a third. Carlo is in after Narman. We'll let him go as he does not connect the cookie. And again, tier 3 is still opening for Bob and Mando to get started on. And that's exactly what they'll do.
Radiant's top tower has looked better.
You can just push in. Good use of Tombstone zone out. Nando, he's got the eggs, Mike. The snake's gonna be bouncing around, forcing out Stone
Radiant's top
form.
tower is
It
under
makes it super
attack.
hard to defend. Doom is still down for 50 seconds. They're gonna be satisfied with tier 3 here for Execration. They back off and they play it safe. They've got this not really a massive lead. 6k up for Execration isn't the biggest. It's enough to put OB.Neon in a bind. Pilots is still trying to far up. Enryu is still kind of
Dire's
not in a
bottom
good spot
tower
for a
is being
Doom, right?
chipped
But
away.
normally with a Doom, you've got this huge network lead with a Midas Devour. Right now, he's behind even Bob. I think your big issue is that Momongdai
Dire's
has to
bottom
really
tower
be up in
needs some
front.
help.
And he has no protection, so he dies instantly, and he's not scaling up on the anchor to build the momentum for Neon. Still, they are going for a 5-minute smoke.
Dire's
Have the
bottom
most
tower is under
aggressive
attack.
wards to spot anyone out, but they circle on at the right time. This could be big.
Getting a small bomb. Chains are out. Momongdai going for the tree line. They do stampede. They're trying to catch up and make sure Bob does survive somehow, but they can't help him. They did at least find a bang. The backside is now Kamizu looking to move back in, but Enryu to get the double zoom off. This could be the team fight that OB.Neon were looking for. But they at least find Vincenzo, but they can't do with Nando quite yet. They've got it back at least for now. But Carlo will go back in after Enryu, but he will drop to Palos. So all things being said and done, not too bad of a team fight as Kamizu now still being chased out from Momongdai. They might have another, but no, the gaze
Double
is
kill.
there with the Aghanim Scepter. He gets petrified. They do find the Ember once again. Somehow Kamizu does survive.
Yeah, it's a bit on edge for Execration, but in the end, it kind of works out. Sure, Neon does find some good Bob can still get heavily punished. I think the silver lining for Neon's that they don't lose Palos at least, so he does get to kind of catch up. He's within 3k of the Dusa here, Mike, not too far off, and should be able to maybe hit a couple more item beats, but I still feel like sacrificing the Ember in particular is just not ideal. Mamangaya is still so far away from his BKB, and because Doom is down once more, Roche has opened up here for Execration. They just go in. They've got the damage with Donda. There is maybe a song play here for Abeng if they spot it out, but they don't have the walls. There's a lot of sentries around from Execration to ensure no interference comes in from Neon first time.
Yep. And even if you wanted to try and interfere here, John, I don't think they could really take on Execration. Not when they're 5. It's gonna be Roshan. Go the way of Nando now. Nando, of course, I mean, you kind of just want to finish off that Eye of Skadi before you go too much further. It's pretty close to it anyway, though, just about 1k off. Once the Skadi's there, you might try to force a high ground attempt once again here from the Radiant. In the meantime, OB.Neon, they've got to find some pickoffs. Try and slow down the incoming high ground attempt. At least for now. Execration seem to want to try for that tier 2 top tower.
Dire's top tower is
We'll
under
go back
attack.
to the outposts as well. By the time tier 2's down, I have Skadi pretty much up for Nando, just a few hundred gold away.
Gone. Just a cold.
And OB.Neon, they're the ones that need to find a way to defend this high ground.
I think Mamangaya is doing the right thing, just pre-cutting on mid to prevent any sort of progression on the open lane. Kind of stall for a bit. It's all about buying time.
Not
for
much
Neon.
good's
Keep
happening to
playing
Radiant's bottom
run and gun,
tower.
keep playing tag, wait for an opportunity to present itself with double doom, as we've seen Neon can actually fight in that way, and hope they have enough on Paul to get running here. The Crystallis is up and running on Arena, so there's a little bit more right click damage coming through here for Palos. Still not much damage compared to the output of our dude at this moment, but a little bit more to play with. I think that's
Radiant's
always
bottom
good news
tower
for
is
Neon to
under
have some
attack.
side of Execration. They don't really mind us too much, and they've still got all the map.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
They've still got the Aegis
Yeah,
running for
Radiant's
3 minutes and a half
bottom
here.
tower got problems.
Nando with a Scotty up has so much stats, gonna be hard to burst through unless they actually commit the Doom onto the Dusa somehow. Nando's positioning has been excellent with past few fights, Mike. He stands way far behind. He allows the rest of the team to kind of cop all the spells, comes in and cleans up afterwards.
Oh, sorry, you wouldn't even know Nando's there. Quite frankly, I mean, he just sneaks up on you. He doesn't really need to do that, but working out very well here for the Execration as a Beng now. Gonna be spotted by Nando. Realizes that not an illusion running down the bot lane, so Beng needs to find his own way out.
Dire's bottom
But
tower
it
needs
looks
some
like
help.
Nando, he's by himself. He's not gonna bother chasing into the tree line. Just keep pushing out this bot wave. In the meantime, Henry or Narp, a warding mission. Them, but Bob is going to try and cut them off along with Carlo, and it looks like they do at least find out the Grimstroke. Good enough is there, so no Soulbind to come out from Carmen. And he could not throw the Doom out. In fact, now they found Mamangaya again, but he is going to be able to remnant this time. Still, high ground is open. Force a buyback from this Grimstroke.
Dire's middle
Go down, they'll
barracks are
get to
taking
work.
damage.
It does seem like Nam does not
Dire's
intend on
middle
buying
barracks
back,
are falling.
but that might mean a second lane of
Beating
barracks.
on Dire's
Too
top
careful.
tower.
I think it will. Like, just clear out so fast inside of
Dire's middle
Execration with
barracks
Bob
are
and Nando. They really need the double Doom
Dire's top
to
tower is
find
under
the angle, and they
attack.
forced out the BKB use of Enryu early on, so it's not like you can just easily blink and just jump on top of Nando to take care of the Aegis and force it back off. They will play it safe on Execration's end, you know, not really in a rush. They've got the lead here. They've got one lane that's going to constantly shove in. Daedalus Fernando is almost done, Mike, so even more right damage coming through with amplification from the Petrify on the Ags, on the Stone Gaze. It's going to be hard to deal with, Nando. I'm keen to see how Neon prioritizes that double Doom. I think so far it's basically been look for an opening, get the Soul Bind, get the Doom, be happy with the kills and then bat it
Player's
off.
bottom tower is
But
being chipped
I
away.
defense think they might have to be a little bit more targeted. Ideally, Nando is one of the two that gets teamed up. If not Nando, then Bob.
Dyer's
You
bottom
get that
tower has
situation for
shattered
yourself for
to
Neon.
little
Defense
pieces.
becomes a lot easier to execute on their side.
Alo is desperately trying to pop up this movement to try and give him a chance. You know, working towards his own nadeless as well now and do something. Carries that last bit of damage output. We've seen OB.Neon, they have been constantly switching lanes out, just making it very hard for Execration to try and approach that high ground. A similar story this time around. Like maybe Knock has boxed out a double damage rune. And will make his way over to bottle that up. Make life a lot easier for Execration if they needed it. If they don't,
Radiant's top
Get the
tower
bot lane
deserves
push
just
now.
as much help as bottom.
he just doesn't expire. I wonder if you should want to be conservative about it. It feels like there's no reason to be, but at the same time, if you lose a high ground team fight, after that game one, they might be a little bit afraid of what could happen.
I think there's always potential to bounce back in. Neon, they are looking for the smoke play. The Aegis expiry, so they know if they do get the Doom on the Dusa, that's going to be a nice juicy kill. Let's see if they do manage to find that out. They've got a good ward spotting out that location. They do manage to drop the Sentry Obs. Can't care of it, but Nando is on full
Dyer's
retreat.
bottom tower is
Neon
under
in a good
attack.
position to pincer here, Mike. Again, if they kill the Dusa, stop.
And they're going to spot him out, but the stuff is not there. Still to make the jump in. Lotus about to wear out, and there's a Doom out with the Soul Mine. Maybe they can with this team fight out. Henry, though, he's muted himself, but it may not matter if it's settled. He's got a Nando. He does drop it up. Kimitsu still flying. They'll go on to Palos. Palos, he does finally drop the bomb. As Mamangdaya, he's been stunned up, but he does finish off Kimitsu, trying to find his own exit, and he does make it. But Bob, Yule Scepter up, is able to continue this fight. Sans was not there in time, and they've got Mamangdaya down. Narman, the only survivor. He will make it. But it's going to be a 3-for-4 trade in the favor of Execration. But I think for OB.Neon, it's a glimmer of hope to make a comeback in this game. Just the fact that we can actually get Nando down.
And they're seeing that they can handle that boost, which is big. Right, so they've got hope for like round hold. They
Dyer's
just need
courier
time to
has been
play
killed.
around with the tempo of Doom now. Right, so whenever Doom's up, that's your opportunity to go out. Nice kill do to keep stalling the game out. They're also trying to build into the advance here for Narman, Mike. So the portrait illusion coming through, use the Dusa against Execration could also be one of the factors to keep this game in the books for Neon to stay inside. And I think kind of have to hit those item spikes fairly soon. For the Execration, they can't really do much with just Bob. They can't make much progression on the map. They can't really run for Roshan, although it's a few seconds away from when you find it. Carlo being really aggressive here on Aben.
He is. Carlo just very, very confident of the snap fire. And all they're looking to do is buy more and more time for Palos. Execration, their next objective, of course, is to be that secondary Roshan. Find it in seconds when this is pointing up. Before that, Execration, they'll fire and smoke again. Run into the first. Is there they up Palos with the BKB? Is there in time? And now the song is committed. A ping, he puts the hand up and TP's out. You love to see it. Just waves goodbye.
The defensive player Neon. Is that good call? You sacrifice Song to take the effect of Stampede. You get a reset. You get a box time for pilots to keep playing this farm game. It's the stall mechanism again for Neon. Though they're not quite gaining network back their way, they're still 12k behind here. They are lining up the item spikes. Daedalus for Palace lined up. Still kind of lacking recipe gold, but
Not
glimmers
much
of hope
good's
are
happened
coming
to
through.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Narman again. Ags is going to be done in his career respawn, so Portrait will be there in about half a minute.
Radiant's
That
top
could be big.
tower
I think
is under
he's been
attack.
heavily nerfed in the past few patches. Been a lot easier to kill off, but you still can't underestimate it. If the micro's there for damage up using Nando against his own team, might again just give them another tool to approach the fight, to kind of take them out. They're gonna smoke out here. Maybe a bit of risk, but they've got Doom up and running.
They do. Get that soul button at a good target. To be all OB.Neon here at Execration, they are still 12k ahead. You've got to find Nando with that Doom. Otherwise, he is probably just going to break your team. Mengsedih, show himself the mob. So both teams just very nervous right now for this next team fight. Roshan's still 50 seconds away, so yeah, haven't really got that to play for yet. And of course, in the meantime, John, Narman does have the Aghanim Scepter you brought up earlier. So we'll see how much that Dark Force does do. Does have himself a Medusa solution right now. I mean, I'm sure very annoying. Does get the ice flow as well. Very, very fun for Execration to try and deal with. Still the ground. Other team really committed not yet. Once that push does spawn up, Execration does have first dibs. It'll be OB.Neon. They need to find a way into the Roshan to try and counter.
They've still got certain tools there. Song's gonna be up in about 10 seconds. And Soulby and Doom still ready to go. Roshan will respawn and Kingsu and Vincent are that spotted, and that should be the go-ahead now for Execration. Neon need to run fast. They're sending out the Naga Illusions to scout out, but they're not in position just yet to run up towards Roshan. But at least they have the info. Let's see if they can make it in time where it's even something we feel like we can test. True with a free ag chart, and they will smoke. So just gotta find the angle here, OB.Neon.
They've smoked, John. I'm not sure if they're going to make it in time, though. Revan's full, Mengsedih, he's there. Roshan's down. Inkswalk connects, but the pet is out again. And Mengsedih cannot pick up the Aegis in time. Oh, so close, so far. So the team fight will probably get. They'll continue trying. It seems like OB.Neon not feeling confident. Without that 8, oh, maybe they do a bang. That's the great. They have a song set up. It will let out the Doom. Now Henry is there. Where's your Soulby? It's out. But the Doom was already committed. They did find the Medusa. That will mean Nando should drop. That only be the first line. It's Bob now. He'll go on to Narman. Trying to get that from down. He's almost got him. In fact, he's now as Palos. He'll be the second to drop. Mengsedih, he's the only one left to try and fight. But he is completely out of mana. Execration. That might just be GG. It's down without buyback.
Yeah, respawns aren't too long, except for Palos, maybe Mengsedih, but I don't know if they can actually do anything. Tier 4 rushes for Execration. Very close move for Mengsedih coming in. Looked like he had the angle for Roche. Didn't manage to get the BKB. Petrify was a bit too strong. They were held back. At least there is a 4-5 to stall out. And Abeng is ready to go, but he can't really do much by himself. Looks like he's just going to quick wave. But there's no other lane shoved in, so if he doesn't that's quick wave. Nah. A bit of a stall there. Execration, they draw out the series fight. We're going to game 3.
Radiant
Oh, Jonathan, great news. We've got somewhere now. It's going to be at least a 2-1 today between these two teams. I'll tell you what, I mean, Execration, they made that one look real clean. Felt like that game was over 10 minutes in, quite frankly, as OB.Neon just had no answers for the aggression of Execration. But I'm happy to say we do find. We only have a third game of the series here between OB.Neon and Execration. Can't wait.
And Execration, as you said, Mike, they played really clean. I think Neon trying out to support Naga for Abeng, one of his signatures, didn't quite pan out. I think their entire lineup was maybe a bit too passive with Luna and an off-lane Doom. I think if you had something more active for Henry, you might have been able to take some earlier fights, apply some pressure instead onto the side of Execration. Didn't quite come out that way. I think Henry was a bit too far behind Doom to get that done. Let's see if Neon manages to fix some of those issues for game number 3, Mike.
We'll head off short break, and right after the break, we'll be back with our game number 3 between OB.Neon and Execration.
Let's get on with it! 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining.
好了，各位观众朋友，大家好！你现在收看到的是 Dota 2 DPC 东南亚赛区联赛2021至2022 S 组的一场 BO3 对决，由 Execration 对阵 OB.Neon。我们来看一下，现在的双方是打平了，来到决胜局。上来之后呢，XCTN 还是在天辉搬小路，这边的话 Neo 是滚滚，尊重，大尊重写在脸上。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team's turn to ban. Radiant team's turn to pick.
搬了末日，这边的话 ，Neo 则是继续搬人马。 看看 XCTN 第一手拿什么
？10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
《上一把是电炎绝手啊，这把电炎绝手也放出来了。
Dire team's turn to pick.
Someone 3 times? Meepo did.
Were you also an Arc Warden player?
Oh, don't mention his name!
I am so sorry about that one. Didn't you think that when they added the Flux talent, it was like Ice Flux spitting on you, like as an Arc Warden player?
I'm actually surprised the Arc Warden is bad because I don't think he was ever like he becomes good because of like a random item and then he'd just die again. But like every time he nerfs him, he adds like a couple more seconds onto his ult. So at some point, we're gonna end up in a patch where Arc Warden clone lasts for like a full minute.
I feel like the issue with heroes like that is they're exclusive in the box of counterpick. Like Arc Warden was picked almost like exclusively against like Medusa.
True.
So if those heroes aren't good, then Arc Warden's not. With that said, Medusa's pretty good right now. So
Yeah.
You know, Arc Warden just
You know what?
really sucks. He's just...
No, you know what Arc Warden needs? He
5
needs a
seconds
shard
remaining.
that gives him some sort of mobility. Now, I hate mobility creep, but like Sniper Shard lets him throw a little concussive grenade and he like bounces
Radiant
backwards.
team's
Imagine
turn to
that on
ban.
Arc Warden. Imagine an Arc Warden that doesn't die instantly when you get on top of him.
What if his clone could throw him?
What if his clone could throw him? And it has like a Sven stun
team's turn to
animation.
I
That's
like Marcy, but given to Arc Warden's
Like-
What
clone.
if this clone could sit back on a panel and analyze the draft?
what? I don't know
Wow,
what that
that'd
is.
be interesting. That'd be interesting because
So
we do have
maybe
a
we could
draft
roleplay
in front of us.
We could give it a chance.
My-
Genius. Let's
You know
try it out.
what? I love Venomancer. Anyone else?
With that, so Mars once again got through. I'm starting to think Execration just hates this
Look,
hero.
look, let's be real. I'm gonna do a big bad analyst here. Alright. Execration first pick Weaver. This hero is broken and is first picked by many teams. OB.Neon respond with Snapfire Mars. Very strong combination pairing.
think
Very
they're
strong
doing-
offlane.
remaining.
Now, Execration reply with Luna. She counters Mars. Her glaives go through
Radiant
Arena.
team
She's
ban.
also a strong carry. Wow, what a draft.
Dire
The
team's
innovation
turn to
of these
ban.
new picks that have never been picked before.
I've never seen a play by a draft, but that was actually pretty solid. I like that.
We need draft play-by-play commentators, is what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Insane. Whoa, the crowd goes mild.
Okay. Okay, but
You've won.
Snapfire Mars.
Watch me, Mate.
I swear to God, this opening could not be any more bland. By
I
I
just-
just
Yeah.
I need to understand why the Mars gets through all the time. There's no way they value this so lowly. I mean, they haven't had the Luna counter. Is that enough? Is the Mars now countered?
I mean, Mars is just—he's gonna do what Mars does, which is exist in his lane and do
Dire
well. There
team's
is
turn to
very few lane combinations that get through like without bans that can just straight up destroy a Mars.
What is the support do you need to get to destroy the Mars? What can you get? Anything that you can get.
I don't think.
Actually, Bane Luna is very strong. I agree.
Yeah,
Maybe.
pretty good. It's hard. I mean, this is the
10
problem.
seconds
Mars is just the
remaining.
hero
Team's
that's stronger,
turn
and you
to
put him
pick.
with Snapfire, he's even stronger. I'm sick of talking about Mars. I hate this guy. Holy moly, it's Elder Titan. Back from the dead. Ah.
Great
Now-
against Luna, great against any edge
Yeah.
carry.
Yes.
And they need to kind of address Luna because Execration, using the fact they have fourth pick in the bans, they fourth pick a Luna, ban out the counters, ban on moves, ban on TV. Okay,
10 seconds
slightly less a
remaining.
counter, still pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elder Titan is.
5
I
seconds
was kind of
remaining.
sad to see him get like absolutely brutalized after TI because he is like a cool hero, but he deserved it. He was picked so much at TI. I think like I don't know about him here. It's nice to be able to throw your drop down in the middle of Mars Arena, and obviously he's good against Luna. But Weaver is a hero that backline, and Elder Titan doesn't really like that.
It's true.
Not generally getting like that laning stage like bonus damage into right level Weaver. Weavers don't play. It's a bit odd because you almost certainly gonna be full.
Hey, you're not the highest armor hero either, so we were kind of both there with Swarm.
Yeah, and they already have a combo for Mars ult, so it's also a little bit sussy there. But you know, if it's Arbing's
against Luna?
if it's Arbing's comfort, then I respect the pick, and I think it's
Yep.
like stronger than a nut.
I'm wondering if they have some kind of synergy with their fourth and fifth pick plan, like something to benefit from the aura, like fling with E-Blade, Tinker type hero, something that can just like blow heroes up with them. And
Right? Just in case people didn't know, because it's something that a lot of people don't know, the Spirit gives you minus magic armor from the order, and it's the actual hero that gives you the minus armor.
yeah, and Luna very high armor, but chances like ET applying that minus armor is very difficult. Again, melee range, and as a 5, you're going to be the Dark Warrior. It's exactly. It's not happening.
That's why people used to go for the ET4 with Axe, right? Because that actually allowed you to go close and use the BKB to hit.
Absolutely.
Another aspect of Elder Titan which is strong is the ability to give vision. We love vision.
True.
Pair that with a hero that does really well in
Radiant team's
vision.
turn to pick.
Oh,
Tinker.
Like Tinker, yeah. Even Mars is going to benefit a lot from it because it will just say they're like ganking the jungle or they're just like looking down a lane. They can just find heroes and jump them with Mars, and that's like a great way to start fight.
Here's the typical Luna draft. How it goes is, oh, I picked a Luna, now let's buffer.
10 seconds
Buff, yes,
remaining.
big fan.
You can also go
Yeah.
Invoker here.
And it's a decent lane as well.
5
partnered
seconds
for
remaining.
Luna because he's so tanky. It's not farming a lot of burst damage. I think Ogre can die to it, but it's going to be tougher for them just as a meat shield that stands in front of Luna. And it's just going to give her a little bit of an easier lane until she decides to do jungle.
Right now, they don't have any ways to cancel the Mortimer's Kisses, which isn't required, but it always feels nice. And they're spending all their extra time on these people.
Dire team's turn to pick.
This is the crucial part where they're trying to figure out what makes no sense. And Death Prophet,
Alright.
new hero.
They're death balling. This is
Yep,
Right.
This is a classic. I'm Luna. I'm Luna.
No.
I have
Explain like a person, elaborate
Sorry.
like a person.
what?
The death ball. What?
The-
Viewers don't know what
seconds
that
Her
is.
name is
TI4.
Death
Did you
Prophet,
watch
so she
TI4?
death balls.
This is TI4 Dota right
That's my
here.
favorite TI.
Okay,
5
so
seconds
if
remaining.
you're a
Mine too.
viewer that doesn't know what death balling is, it's where you group up as a ball of death and you kill everyone in your way and you push towers and you win fast.
And why is this good with Luna?
It is good with Luna because her aura and her abilities and spells are very strong and allow her to fight early. She's also very good at pushing towers with her team. When they are together, they are stronger. They have more damage. So Death Prophet, whose ability on her ult allows her to push towers, she synergizes with that. As she can stand next to Luna, they both have extra damage. Tower, take objective, take Roshan, go end with Aegis. Thank you. That was so stressful. Did I get an A, sir? Did I pass the test,
You
sir?
got an A-star.
Oh, an A star. Good.
Death Prophet also flexible between lanes. That's one thing I add is it can be mid or off lane. So if they feel like they get a good mid matchup, most matchups are pretty good. Send it mid, but it really comes down to what they feel like. Draft.
He's a bit of a poor man's leader in the mid lane. Does decently in most matchups.
A little bit out of meta, but I love Death Prophet. At least when I see her in a draft like this, it looks like it fits. Like Ogre is gonna help fulfill that too. You bloodlust your carry, you make her just a little bit strong. But Neon, they do have a draft that is okay into this type of tempo. Especially Elder Titan, if he's able to set up with Stomp, I think it's really difficult for Execration to disengage from that. You don't really have any disengage on their team.
Okay, do you pick that with fitness as well to go with to try to deal with death ball?
Monkey's hypothetical hero.
Like here's like Ursa Monkey. Is that what you look?
That should be okay actually.
You really need some wave clear too. I don't know if you. I feel like you can need save your carry for last and get some wave clear.
Okay.
Radiant teams
But you
turn
need
to
to be
ban.
able to like. Okay.
Viper's gonna.
He was a
Down
wave
nether
clear?
tox. I mean, so yeah, semi wave clear, not like this super strong like cut waves and really mess up the put just like them or the creep waves. But team fight's just scary right now. Like I see
Dire team
OB.Neon.
ban.
Like I'd much rather be playing Dare Draft. It feels way simpler to execute. Defending your towers with this kind of a team fight is
Radiant team ban.
I was thinking about Faceless Void for Neon in the idea of do they want to just team fight harder than Execration?
Right.
But there's an issue of if you Chrono and Execration are going to go take advantage of that. But similarly, if you use Death Prophet ult, then now you have cooldown and Neon take
10
advantage of
seconds
that.
remaining.
It's kind of like a what team uses their ult better if you go down that
5
route.
seconds remaining. Dire
That does
teams
make your
turn to
execution
ban.
harder than Void ban. So there's
Goodbye, Void.
no question about that.
Boy, don't really know.
Radiant
Neon,
teams turn to
there
pit.
is
Ranger.
some.
maybe
They need objective taking some kind. That's where the ban also make.
his towers. Like Viper, when he has shard, will be able to do it. But last time I said that about Viper, he didn't get his shard till like 36 minutes. I was like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah, pros really hate that shard. So
I
10
don't know why.
seconds
Like, it's really
remaining.
nice to like see how quickly it shreds buildings.
I agree. It also adds so much damage against
5
heroes.
seconds
like,
remaining.
Well, yeah, something that hits towers, something that can.
Dire
Because right
teams
now
turn
they
to
have a
ban.
lot of magical damage. They don't really have any physical damage on Neon, and especially when they're lowering armor with Elder Titan.
DP off with teams like Valor's matchup against Viper is pretty bad for Viper. Just kind of running him over.
I actually don't know how that matchup goes.
Really?
Yeah.
From what I've seen, the Viper
10
is like
seconds
the
remaining.
moment you just overstep the boundary, which Valor knows, and he just runs through you with Firefly. It's also
Can't Viper just, like,
Choose your hero.
What the heck?
It's crazy how like stock standard the first 4 picks were, and then these last 6 have been like
Oh, yeah.
out of left field. Death Prophet, Bat, Viper, and Teammate. Woo!
Neon.
Against a Death Ball line. I mean, they can defend towers, but AM is brave pick.
This is like Anti-Mage will solo carry this game if Neon, like his teammates, absolutely carry the hell out of him for the first, and that's
Yeah.
hard into Bat. Someone who is like known for destroying his lanes.
EP as well, because the amount of pushes she offers is gonna be ridiculous afterwards. Like Luna.
Yeah, I'm worried for Sandra.
Even the lane is great. Like, Weaver sounds pretty annoying when you've got the melee support in the
I mean, ET is like meant to win you your lanes. That's like his purpose, right? I don't know what the nerfs
New
do.
ET, does he still do that? And against like Weaver, he's just going Shikuchi away.
So I don't ask this. So, where are you seeing Sheeple?
but Execration.
Thoughts?
What? OB.Neon is 2 words.
Execration, dude.
Okay, we'll see if it is Execration when Deep takes this game, or if it's gonna be OB.Neon. For now, I'm gonna have to wait and see as we get into the game and into this wonderful cast narrated by Ellie and John X Fire.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back into our game number 3 between Execration and OB.Neon. It is by John. That pesky panel, they have no faith in OB.Neon's draft. Neither do I, quite frankly, Jonathan, but I'd like you to tell us why they still have a chance.
Palos AM, we've heard it from Norman, but the win condition is Palos, and you can already see him spamming out the Ares voice line there. So he's feeling good about himself. Bob already saying, I'm sorry about this, you know. I get my Bat Rider back, and you know, yeah, he's like, yeah, I might eat you guys, but instead of throwing Bob under the under the bus, but
It's not Twitch chat, Vince. All right, calm down.
oh yeah, you can see both sides that you're still in high spirits, but you know, this is a Bob special with a Bat Rider. Lane matchup against a Viper again, it's something that he can handle. See if Mengsedih can kind of work his way back. A lot of pressure on Palos to deliver here, Mike. He's got to carry the game. I don't know if they have enough control of stopping certain slippery heroes here from Execration as well on Neon side. Like, control for
30
Carlos seems
seconds
to be a
to
big
battle.
issue. Like, stopping the Weaver, just weaving in and out, dropping down the Swarm, getting these stacks up, what you earn, and just spamming that around seems to be might be a problem down the line for Neon, because their stunts aren't immediate. So I'm keen to see the back and forth. Love to see the Palos AM, but he's got a lot of work to really put in this game, Mike.
does, Jonathan. The old chat continues with Carlos. He gets spotted out and already is taking a substantial amount of damage. I kind of wonder how much strength they're going to be able to make this AM, this game, right? Because you've got this Viper from Among Dire. We've seen this from Among Dire before. He does play a pretty mean Viper. You've got the Mars there from Enryu as well. Then again, though, it's a Bob battle. And the DP in the off-lane. It's a kind of a hard draft to keep up with if you do end up falling behind.
You've got to play to a certain tempo here on side, and I think Execration, once they get that ball running, it's going to be very hard for Neon to stop it. They've got to get great uses out of their arena, kind of got to get the levels up in their support, get the combination out with the kits as well, and try to control from there. Let's see if they can get that done. We're peak here up top in the matchup. Carlo on the Weaver, along with Kimizu in that DP, and you're already seeing Kimizu and Carlo just applying pressure onto Abing. Level 1 for the ET tends to be one of its strongest points. You know, you get the spirit out, you try to whack away, but you're a melee hero up against two very quick ranged heroes. So you can't really leverage that right click damage you normally would want to do. At the least, he is kind of taking aggression off of Palos, allowing the AM to focus on last hitting, but you're not getting off that early zoning that you want to do on ET here.
Well, moving down to the bot lane, you've got Vincenzo there against Enryu and Narman, and of course he is joined by the lovely Nando on the Luna. Nando having a fabulous game last time around on the Medusa, around taking the Luna full himself. Definitely a lot of kill potential here down to this bot lane, it feels, with the Mars Snapfire. If they are able to catch up Vincenzo or Nando on that Luna, at least for now though, they are going to just take it easy. So Enryu's main focus will just be trying to deny as many creeps away from Nando. Trying to give him the same experience that Palos had last game around. At least for now though, it does having a pretty good time.
Not really being zoned out too hard. There is a double stun combination here for OB.Neon. Once they have the cookie, they can go into the spear, but they have to watch for the double stuns as well on Execration side, as they do manage to zone out Narman just a bit.
Nando gonna try and turn back around onto Narman, but he's running away, but Fire Blast is gonna make it in first blood. Gonna go the way of Execration as Nando does take it for himself. Enryu, he tried so hard to body block, but just wasn't quite enough to save.
And that's a great start for Nando. First blood manages to build up on Luna, hit those farming spikes, hit those early item spikes, power treads, maybe the Mask of Madness to accelerate. As long as they protect their stacks in comparison to what happened to Neon in Game 2, you're going to be off to that snowball start that you want on the Luna. And I love what Vincenzo's doing, just putting his body forward. He's going to cop the spear back, but it's an ogre. He's tanky. He doesn't care.
Substantial amount of damage on Enryu. Nando, far do you want to go, sir? Won't go too much further. Plenty of damage being dealt to the Mars. Mine! We should have a quick gander at the mid lane as well, John. You've got Mengsedih and Bob there against each other. Two pretty toxic heroes playing against each other, I might add. The Batrider and the Viper. Pretty disgusting kind of lane. At least for now, though, it is favoring Bob in terms of CS. In fact, it's favoring him quite heavily in terms of farm. 15 in comparison to the 7 of Mengsedih, so over double the CS right now for the Bat. It's one of those things with the Viper. If you're not able to apply that pressure during the laning stage, it does feel like your hero kind of drops off. And for now, Bob is not having any issues.
It's the matchup. It just favors the Batrider. You can clear out the creep wave a lot easier by just building up napalm stacks. Mengsedih can't afford to be going under toxics in this lane, so you can't really clear out the creep wave as fast. He's missing out on some CS. He's still getting some levels, and Bob hasn't run him down yet. So that's a bit of a positive, but as you said, Mike, if the Viper doesn't go off to a fast start, it's not the most flash farming hero. It kind of just wants to get going very early on, and Narman's gonna make himself present early on just to ensure that the water rings will be taken by Neon. So they're denying the top up here for Bob, which does mean that that'll limit his sticky napalm spam just a tad bit. I don't think he minds too much. Even though he's not finding kills, he is getting the farm. That's going to lead to really fast travels for Bob if left unchecked.
Absolutely, and it's been not great farm right now. Anders had a fantastic time though. I may have spoken too soon again, John, because he hasn't been caught up by the spear, and it looks like he is set for no, the turnaround now. Back in on the Mars. Oh, they've got him, Nando. He's going to get away with murder, it seems now. He cannot go too much further. Carlos will be there with Vincenzo, and eventually they'll get a double kill from Nando. Oh, that's rough. For OB.Neon, that is just a
Cracks in
disgusting
Dire's
sight.
top tower?
Oh yeah. Great rotation shot from Carlo to kind of help them secure that next kill. They just don't have enough follow-through to take care of Nando. Like Vincenzo is doing such a great job of just putting his body forward, ensuring that some of that intention is just diverted away, and it's just the stun stacking. Like ogre damage is pretty darn good, magic damage is kind of ripped through Enryu and Narman early on. Even if they have the doubled stun, even if they've got the physical output with the God's Rebuke and, you know, amping that up with a Blightstone and a little Shredder, they're kind of falling though. So, Execration already off a really clean start to go. They might do more again.
On to Enryu, they really like to just focus down this Mars, and Enryu, he's known to play a very mean Mars, but considering how bad of a start he's having, it might be a pretty tough time to recover as Carlo now takes the kill on the Weaver. And I suppose the only real good thing happening for OB.Neon is the fact that Palos is top of the CS board right now. So, and Image is farming quite decently. And as I say that, Abeng actually casts the TP for himself. Skimizu now thinking he might be able to keep the chase up. Does at least cancel the south off, and in fact, Abeng, he may need to just TP because now Bob might just take the kill. And it looks like he will. As Kimizu hit Abeng for that. And Bob will say thank you very much. In fact, now Mongaya being dived already into the tier 1 tower. Lasso's there. They'll find another.
Radiant's middle tower
Double
could use
kill
some
for
help.
Bob.
It's like little Kiki play, having something to try to secure the refill up and just deny that away from Bob by putting his body forward. It does cost them a lot more. Like the space is coming through for policies, but my R8 is going to hit a very fast Battle Fury timing. It's just everyone else is sacrificing a little bit too much for that. You talked about the early timings of Viper. It doesn't feel like Mamangdai is going to get off to that running start he needs to have that early presence. He is still trying to itemize towards the Rod of Atos. With that control up, maybe then you can start playing around, but even with Enryu as well falling behind here, like your Mars is not going to be able to get that early blink to set up the arena plays, and without some big play, you just have to find those opportunities.
Oh, Mamangdai again on the Viper, being caught out here by Vincenzo, and Bob lands the plane break, so he will avenge another great set of kills here. I mean, Execration, they're doing these lanes so well. If you give credit to Vincenzo and Carlo, they're the ones rotating and making all this happen. Not something you'd quite expect this early on from an Ogre Weaver support duo, but they're doing a great job. And or even Kimizu now, good playing into the mid lane with the Exorcism up. And we did see this last game, Jonathan, with the left track, they took a very early tier 1 tower. Like every single game they've taken a very early tier 1 mid tower. And they may just get linked once again.
They're set up for it. They're cutting off the defense line of Neon as well. They can't get in position to posture for that mid. And Enryu's not even level 6, so they don't even have the arena to kind of stall this one out.
They will force Kimizu back in the end. It's basically what's last conflict anyway, that tier 1 mid. We'll come back for it later on. The Execration is executing their game plan so darn well at the moment. So they're kind of getting PTSD from the last games. We'll take the stacks immediately, knowing that there is a chance that they will invade this jungle very early. Better just get it while you can. In the meantime, OB.Neon, they still have Palos. He's farming very well on that anti-mage. Issue is though, Luna's farming much better right now, about 400 gold front in terms of net worth.
And it will kind of gap once the battle fury is up for Paladin, but I don't think that's a concern for Execration. Since they're finding the objectives, there's not much room for Cause to eventually farm. It's going to have to farm riskier spots. It's all
drop it again, Sean. He's going to drop to Carlo. But no, he's going to go down. Mamangdai does at least get a bit of revenge from the train. Now Nam going to be chased. Fire Blast will be there, and Bob will go for the chase down with the Firefly. He will at least find a Sapphire. They will get Vincenzo with the trades now. Bob, he needs his own way out. Kimizu, he's going to be there to try and help. Lasso is up, but they don't have the mana to throw it out. So instead, he'll go up. Bang, just with the Firefly and the sticky napalm stacks. Bang will not get away from dying. Bob really wants his kill, and eventually with the flame break, he might have a triple. And Enryu's ticking out to the fire damage, but he barely survives. So Bob away with the double. You've got to be happy with that.
Oh, you're definitely pleased with your there from Execration. That forces Palos to even show up. He's not hitting creeps in that downtime. He's trying to help his team out, looking for an opportunity to use the mana void there. Doesn't really find the angle. So that great form you have in the AM, he's still starting to lag severely behind Nando, who does have the Mask of Madness up, Mike, and it just farms supremely faster with that first item picked up. Battle Fury is still set for a good time for Paulo, but it's all about stalling out after that. To hit the item spikes you need to really get the AM rolling. I don't think Execration is going to give you too much room to read. Travel, it's up on Bob. He's just set to go for a smoke and look for a gank.
Poor bypass, Nintendo just rushing right forward, ignoring Narman completely. That'll be another kill on the Viper as Narman. He'll be the cherry on top here for Bob. Another double kill on the Bat Rider. Bob Wrecker showing up for game 3, I'll tell you, John. Very kind of devastating performance here from our bats thus far. And it's hard to see Execration slowing down at this rate. I mean, it's such a dominant game thus far. I don't see why it's slowed down.
Power's got problems.
They should just keep this death ball going. Shifu called it out in the panel. They just run and gun, take towers, play around her ults, and ensure that there's no room to breathe here for Neon's end. Palos, I mean, he's just trying to spawn a small camp. Even that's a bit of a struggle here for him.
They are wrapping. Imizu will land the silence. I'm not sure if they have enough damage to get the kill in time, and they won't. I think the objective is to just keep forcing Palos away from those farming positions. And OB.Neon, well, they're going to be forced to rotate up top and try to respond to this. Ping, holds down. Stop will be there. Does land on 2. You've still got Nando around, but he doesn't really have a trips anyway. So Arena's going to be dropped. With the Mortalist misses, they are going to be able to find a double kill for Enryu now.
Cracks in Dire's top tower.
I said it kills for OB.Neon. Something they desperately needed for themselves.
That does punish the aggression of Execration quite nicely and will help accelerate NU's blink timing, which will allow Neon to, again, force more fights and line up for bigger arenas. Maybe take care of the backline, maybe catch out that Luna and spear her up, get the kisses on top, and follow up fights. And that's really important for Neon. So, great big kills coming true. I think you are kind of taking a compromise there where you have to worry about the Luna, you have to worry about Nando hitting very fast BKB timing, because once that BKB is up on the Luna, the Mars counter just doesn't quite be there. You're not really going to be able to pin her down anymore.
They found needs the target here onto Vincenzo, but Bob, he's going to get involved. He's got Mamangdaya again, and look at the damage output. It's just not fair. Mamangdaya is going to burn out to Bob pretty much solo. And he can't do anything about it, as they will continue for more now. Narman's poor old birthday boy is going to be the second to drop. They might at least find a Weaver. The spear out from Enryu might be enough to look down. No, Carlos fine. He's going to Sakuchi. Oh, maybe not a bang. He does get the kill, but Enryu is going to be traded for that. And it's just not worth for OB.Neon. But now Execration, having that many kills down, they'll just go after that bottom tier 1 tower and easily take it thanks to Kimizu.
Yep, they've got that push potential. Again, with this draft, they're just playing so well these cooldowns and, you know, finding those opportunities to play around. Look for the team fight, get objectives, pull back, reset, go back in. They've got the blink up now on Bob, Mike, so easy initiation coming out for Execration. Going to be much more speedy on jumping in onto here and just bursting them down. Good news for Neon, though. They've got the Battle Fury up on Palos, but he is still lagging behind. This is the moment where Neon has to stall out. They have to play as 4 or just drag attention away from Palos to ensure AM investment will work out. He did not go for boots, though. This is a naked Battle Fury, but it's one of those games where you just have to kind of get what you can on that empty.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a very desperate situation for OB.Neon as Mengsedih. He's trying, John. He's trying to keep the lanes pushed out, but every single time he shows on the map, they just chase him down. And Execration will continue with the tips out as mid lane. Who else have they got? They have found Narman on the snap fire, and there's nothing Narman can do about it. Another great kill here for Execration, as they are looking for a little bit more, but OB.Neon, they'll hide in that Dire triangle for now. But for Execration, they might look at that top tier 2 tower. I mean, only 14.5 minutes in, but once you've got Exorcism back up in about 40 seconds, you may as well.
Yep. Nothing to hold them back. There is the threat of the arena, and he does have the blink flying in here. So So there's an angle that Neon can take it, got the kisses to back that up. And he will smoke put that item timing on enemy. So let's see if they find the angle here. That tier 2 is nothing pretty darn fast, even without the exorcism.
Marlo's going to be there to break the smoke, but they've got Nando. Oh no, they don't even got the BKB up already, so Enryu's just going to drop to the Eclipse. And now they go for more. Narman, he's trying to run out of there. It's not looking great for him though, as he will turn onto Carlo. Does force him back, and now Mengsedih's shown up. They do get something. They'll get Vincenzo down, they will protect Narman.
Dire's top tower.
It's still not great news though. I mean, they lost the top tier 2 tower, they lost Enryu. Somehow Palos went down at the bottom of the map. It looks like Bob picked him off solo. So even worse news for OB.Neon.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really manage to defend that tier 2. They lose their AM. So now, because the tier 2 is gone, Outpost is open. Roshan is very open for Execration. And they held on to the Exo, Mike. It's going to be a very quick rush with Kimizu committing the spell for the Aegis instead. Nando's going to be protected for the second egg. And Neon, they don't have any spells. They use Arena, they use Texas to follow through for this. There's a double damage on the bot, the Rune spot as well. And as is Christian Roshan into DD, Abeng will grab it, denying that swing around for Execration, but I don't think they're going to be too dissuaded. We're still at 16 minutes in. There's a 9k lead for Execration. The map is already growing very naked for the side of Neon. And it's all still stemming back to Palos just having to carry this game out of his mind, but our aim's just not ready for that. Everyone else has been sacrificed to allow the AM to farm up to that point, Mike.
Absolutely. So pretty much the reason why you don't see anti-mage anymore, because this play style is
snow fortified.
quite detrimental if you do fall behind. And we talked about this earlier on in the game. You were very reliant on winning out your lanes, and that just did not happen. Execration just able to win pretty much every single lane. Slow down OB.Neon, not allow them to run their draft where they do want to run it. We do have a 3-man smoke up again. Bob, Nando, and Vincenzo just running right into that triangle. Abeng though, he's going to be there to tank the gank and break the smoke. Bob, however, he's going right after Palos, and he does find Enryu instead. Why the hell not? Think of a master your trouble. And Enryu, he misses the spear on the arena, which means he's going to go down. And would you believe it, John? Mengsedih will probably be the next one to drop, as he gets another tip out from Nando.
Been spooled.
Just absolutely zero mercy here from Execration.
No, they're just hitting all their spikes, Mike. I don't think we pointed this out earlier on. Vincenzo has been running around with a veil for a long time, so the magical burst on hand from Execration just gets amped up so much more. It's so easy for Bob to run anyone down. So easy for anyone from Neon to melt. There are no early Glimmer Capes, no pipe to block the magic damage off. It's just a bit early for Neon to have any of those up, considering their itemization and how the lanes went. So Execration are still well and truly in their big power spike with his deathfall. Mid-tier 2 falls, only one outer tower left for Neon and Palos.
Yeah, I mean, they waited a long time for that Blink TP, and they knew exactly where he was going to go. With Execration, they're just reading OB.Neon like a book. Especially Bob, but Bob's just been fantastic on this Bat Rider. He continues to blink the exact way everyone's going. They found another. Yeah, Narman. Happy birthday, Narman.
Own it.
He'll go down.
Poor
Execration, they shot up to the party. Narman's candles. Not very nice.
Yeah, they're throwing the cake to his face, as is tradition in some spots. Still, at the best of times now for Neon, 13k deficit, 24 to 8. Feels like we've kind of missed out on that early spike for Mengsedih. Enry is trying to be sneaky here, hanging that line, but I think Carlo's got an idea as to where everyone's at.
Of
course, you've got Bob running up. So it looks like while the action breaks out bot, they're going to look for the kills up top.
Carlo, he gets another TP cancellation onto Enryu, and now Bob's here. He hasn't got the balance for the lasso, but it won't matter. He doesn't need it. Tips out to Abeng now as he just disappeared. And OB.Neon, I mean, you kind of pointed it out, but all eggs are in the Palos basket. And that basket is not looking too great at the moment. It needs more time, much more time. Is Execration, they're not intending on giving that time away. No way in hell.
constantly on top of pressure all co-op.
It's starting to look like a pub game here, John. Nando just goes down to the Eclipse. Nama's just running back to the base now as they are looking towards. I was gonna say T2 mid-tower, John, but there's no T2 mid-tower.
There are no outer towers left. It's just high ground left. They've still got Aegis for a minute. Oh,
Nice speed back. So they've got the Luna. He does have an Aegis touch. There's your lasso as well. Right onto Mamangtaya. They want that Viper Dip and bomb. He's dropping low, but not quite low enough. Not before Palos and Mamangtaya both end up going down. Onto the T3 they go. Around from Enryu, it's not going to help their cause. I mean, he does drop eventually, but it is at the cost of the Mars. So Mamangtaya is back in onto the Luna, and they do at least get Nando down. Too bad. OB.Neon. They successfully hold the T3. But it was looking a bit rough there for a second.
yeah. It's still a good defense. I mean, that's a massive gold swing for the way of Neon, considering the streaks you had on Execration. I think Bob was 10-0 when he died. You were 6-0 on Nando as well in Luna right before dropping, so it's a lot of swing back. And it's, even though you're not getting it on your AM, you are getting it on your Viper, you're getting it on your Mars, who are still really pivotal for this point in the game of Neon. So still a worthwhile trade. Their high ground still stands. Execration have to be a bit cautious about going in that far. They were really aggressive. They didn't have the Eclipse to back them up. That was committed on the opping slow pickoff. So Neon are finding these openings. Whenever Execration get a bit too hasty, get a bit too aggressive, commit too many big spells, Neon can kind of jump in, play defensively with the Arena Kisses combination, get the Earth Splitter on top, and still have an opportunity to melt some of these heroes. The issue is they can't really transition from the objective, but they'll try for mid at the least with a smoke up, but they don't really have the angle.
Radiant's
So
bottom tower's got problems.
that's one big issue, Mike. And they find the kills, sure, they can defend the high ground. Tier 1 still stand. So there's not much map space for you to actually just catch
Not much
right
good's
now.
happening to Radiant's bottom tower.
Certainly is.
Radiant
I mean,
structures
Palos
are
is trying.
fortified.
He's only 3k behind Nando on that Luna at the moment. But
Radiant's
it is
bottom
still an
tower
anti-mage.
is
It needs
under
much
attack.
more than
Radiant's
Luna
bottom
does.
tower is no more.
Execration. Still no Roshan to play for, but they can certainly just keep all the lanes pushed out and control that dire jungle. In fact, they're already pinging up that top tier 3 tower now. You do have pretty much every spell
Not
up
much good's
apart
happening to
from
Radiant's
Exorcism,
bottom
but that's up
tower.
in 4. They want to try and make a play onto an objective if they can. Every second they wait is another second that Palos is able to hit creeps. Because they'll have the mantle. On towards the starting the mid lane bomb. He's gonna find a target, and of course it's Mamangtaya again. The Viper's gone immediately, and Bob, he wants to chase down Enryu. You know they want that Mars, and they've got him. 2 down. That's Mamangtaya with a dieback. And Execration should have a very easy route to the high ground.
They only really have to extend lasso. They've still got the Exorcism. They've got the Eclipse ready for a bigger team fight on the high ground. And I believe you've got the full, I believe maybe even the full Silver Edge up for not already flying out. So the damage of our Luna is going to skyrocket to this point. Neon, respawns are short, but they don't have Arena. I think that's the big key that they're lacking in defense. And can stall them out with the kisses, but without the setup, I don't think they're going to be finding big kills here.
There you go, tier 3 tower now under siege, and you've got that Exorcism up, so it's kind of hard to defend this for OB.Neon. They may have to let this one go down, but Enryu, he'll TP in and try to set up something. He is there, they've got the Luna, it's a lot of damage, and they perked him down. Alright, Nando's gone. You'll lose Narman as a trade, but it's still a great one for OB.Neon. Buy back on Narman. Dimizu is still trying to secure the lane of barracks. However, he's starting to drop low. Notes are down. He's going to rely on right clicks, but he does not have enough. Oh, he's one away, and everyone just left him alone.
Great timing on the yields, kind of cut off the last bit of the Exo reach as well. So he was already topped up anyway, but you managed to burst him down in the end, and they hold on to the high ground still here. For the side of Neon, they lose the tier 3, but it costs a lot from Execration to get that done. And they're still in the game. Palos has has the mantle up, so he's a bit more protected on that AM. He can start jumping around looking for these opportunities.
Very nice kill down to Vincenzo as Carlo pushed one. In preparation of defend that T1, but there is really no defending it.
Has fallen.
Go down the way of OB.Neon.
Tis mine.
Of course, that Roshan can be very important now for either side. I mean, I can't quite say OB.Neon's really in a position where they can actually contest the Roshan 5v5, but we'll find out in 45 seconds. I mean, you know Execration's going to rush for it. It's certainly got what it takes to take it as well with this Luna DP.
I think we're reaching the point where Neon's teamfight is starting to shape up, especially when they see early BKB committals coming through from Execration. So that provides an opening for Enryu to get good arenas off, Kisses to come up, the damage the Earth Splitter. The scaling damage is always going to be relevant as well. The Execration has to kind of respect the output of Neon as they overextend on the high ground, they get punished. They do have some saving tools on Execration. Taito Mike Ags up for Carlo. The time lapse on allies is ready and you're going to smoke.
Passo, instead he'll go after a Beng. Not quite finding the Mars he initially wanted. It won't matter if they can at least find something in back of Beng. He's going to try and TP out, but they've got plenty of ways of cancelling that. Enryu. Oh, he's gone down. DD root spawned up, and Roshan's up. Of course.
Yeah.
Radiant's middle tower
That time,
shouldn't have to take
still there.
this.
Still not patched out into the Roche they go for Execration side. Neon now without the Mars probably won't be able to contest. They don't have the vision as well in the Roche pit, are aware that something's up. The best they can hope for now is just pull back, get Paulus up and running. He's almost got the Scotty. So our aim's starting to get pretty fat and tanky. Will it be enough for the high ground hold? That is the Aegis and Shard going the way of Nando. So you can spam out the Lucent Beams for some more glaives flying through to do more damage out. Neon, we've seen them hold the high ground really well. It's got to come through once more. They've got to get Nando's 2 lives away.
Not much good's
and
happening to Radiant's bottom
the
tower.
angle to deal with him. Right? Because when Enryu gets to good arenas, when the follow-up's there, the damage is there from Neon. They just need to work really hard to force Execration to overextend their way.
Makes it that much harder. Like, you've got a DD rune on the Nando. So, like, if it wasn't hard enough to get through this Luna with the Aegis, he's got a double damage now. Working on towards that butterflies. They may not rush for the high ground yet. They may just wait out that B5 first. We are going to have a quick pause out here. We do have some mouse issues. Hopefully not a real mouse, just, you know, your computer peripherals.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, I've had actual mouse issues in the house, Mike.
Oh,
It's,
what
it's
happened?
not pleasant. Well, sometimes I'm doing dishes at 2 a.m. Take a look. There's a little scurrying shadow. The traps aren't catching him. The squeaking's all around the house. It's not just mice as well in my house, Mike. There are bats around the area as well. I constantly hear, you know, they're echoing out, crying around. It's something else. So, good thing for Christian, it's not real mice or flying mice as well. You get back in the game.
Why are you doing dishes at 2 a.m. in the morning, John?
I ask myself the same question, Mike, and I can't come up with any good answer.
All right, fair enough. Execration, they're going to smoke up. There is going to be a scan out. Not going to really lead to much, though. At least to allow them to avoid smoke. And Nando, he's going to jump in. Mengsedih, he's too far forward. Down with that buyback on that Viper.
Dire's
They do
middle
go back to that
barracks
mid-racks. No problem for Execration. You see Bob having a fish around, see if he can find someone.
Some help.
Mind you, he does not have lasso up, but it does not really matter.
Dire's
Narman.
structures are fortified.
That blast off the mark. Enryu, not going to land the spear
Dire's
either.
bottom tower is being chipped
Carlos
away.
will jump in himself now, but the force staff was there. OB.Neon, well, if they expect to defend this, they've got to commit to the team fight. And it is very difficult into the DD rune and the Aegis of Nando.
Dire's bottom barracks have fallen.
But now, though, they'll let the 2 Raxes fall. Problem is Execration, they're not done. They want to go for a third and get the Megas up. Neon in position. Carlos picked up from the backside, but it's not going to work out. It's now Nando. He'll get to work. Carlos, he's going to back off, though. He'll be just fine. They are still trying to find a way into the team fight. Kimizu will jump in, but Mengsedih and Enryu being sniped been done. They popped hit BKBs. They're going to force the fight now onto the support. Go after the Oka and the Weaver. To be able to find both. Meanwhile, Nando, he'll just keep it up. Keep going after the Frontire. He'll get the Viper down again. But this time he does have buyback. They at least get through the Aegis of Nando. They lost Enryu and Talos. He's not looking healthy. He'll try to man fight, but it is not going to work out.
Dire's top tower is gone.
They've got buybacks.
Fog left behind.
They will be able to protect that last
Someone better
point of
help
barracks at
Dire's
least
middle
for
tower.
now, but perhaps not long.
Ultra kill.
As Narman, he is going to get rid of the last hit. Very unlucky there for our Snapfire.
Dire's top barracks.
Nando, he'll move back in.
Dire's top
Buybacks or not,
barracks are falling.
and never mind, GG's call. OB.Neon, they cannot defend
And
this.
not in a good
Yeah, I mean, they tried. There were some shining moments there for Neon, like the high ground defense. They managed to punish Execration twice over when they were overextending for that tier 3. In the end, I think the lanes just didn't match up for Neon, right? Like